grizzled and gray, talking about Star Wars from back in the day. You got a talk show called Geeky Geezers, it's true, spinning old tales about the stuff that went through. From Atari to Trek, they know every line. A Geeky Geezers, man, they're feeling just fine. Like Pacelli's got a lightsaber, he swings it with pride. A Boomer's got a Game Boy, plays it deep in the night. They're ranting about He-Man and old X-Men too. A Geeky Geezers, they're the nerdiest crew, talking Transformers and toys that twist and they turn. A singing blues for the geek life, the hearts still burn. Oh, Geeky Geezers, they're living the dream. A talking comics and movies, they're busting the seams. From Battlestar reruns to D&D lore, they're preaching the gospel of geek evermore. Be Pacelli and Boomer, they'll never grow old. A Geeky Geezers with hearts made of gold. Fans in the studio, mics turned up loud, reminiscing about Thundercats, feeling so proud. Pacelli loves Spider-Man, Boomers for Hulk. They argue about Star Trek with passionate bulk. From Betamax tapes to their old D20s, a Geeky Geezers where the nostalgia flows. They got fans in the chat, from the young to the old, they're tuning in to hear stories that never get cold. Talking Ghostbusters, Proton Packs, Toys in the Box, and Saturday mornings with cartoons that rocked. Pacelli and Boomer, they're keeping it real. A Geeky Geezers with that old school feel. Go Geeky Geezers, they're living the dream. Are talking comics and movies, they're busting the seams. From Battlestar reruns to D&D lore, they're preaching the gospel of geek evermore. Eat Pacelli and Boomer, they'll never grow old. A Geeky Geezers with that old school feel. Oh, Geeky Geezers, they're living the dream. Are talking comics and movies, they're busting the seams. From Battlestar reruns to D&D lore, they're preaching the gospel of geek evermore. Eat Pacelli and Boomer, they'll never grow old. A Geeky Geezers with hearts made of gold. They're singing the blues for the games that they played, for the VHS tapes and the arcades that frayed. But the spirits are young, though their hair's turning white. A Geeky Geezers keep the nerd fire alive. So tune in each week to the Geeky Geezers show. Pacelli and Boomer let the good times flow. From X-Files to X-Men, they're dropping the news. They're singing praises of geek life with them old blues. Pacelli and Boomer, forever they'll be. A Geeky Geezers living wild and free.
Because of the covenant having to be with his wife. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Geeky Geezers. I'm your host, Agent Boomer, otherwise known as Boomer in the song. And here's my co-host, Pop-Pop Pacelli, known as Pacelli in the song.
Pacelli, Pascali. I think it's pronounced like 3 or 4 different ways in the song. But what can you do? What can you do?
And here is the Gazette, netter of Netters Network, who is looking a little bit less lycanthropic tonight. Right.
Well, give her until Monday. Monday is the full moon.
Yes. Okay. So, welcome everybody to Geeky Geezers.
There works wonders. Yes, but it
Hope
does.
You're having a good week. We got a packed new show tonight.
We do have
this is a
quite a few
doozy
things
one
going
tonight.
Yeah.
This is chaos. All entertainment this decade has been nothing but chaos. And not the fun kind of chaos.
I'll be honest.
Chaos.
The past 6 years or so, Marc Malnekoff and I have been talking behind the scenes, and he's been saying, the more the time goes on, the smaller and smaller my social media follows get. I keep eliminating people that I really don't need to see the stuff that they're posting. Well, I'm kind of feeling the same way about the people in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
There's a list out right now. They've put themselves on this list. This isn't a list that anyone else is compiling. And I am just going through that list and going, I will not be watching movies with these people in them anymore. Period. I mean, I am not even kidding.
Well, here's the thing, though. I'll say this. Like, De Niro has done things that annoy me. De Niro, I'll still admit, is a great actor. He can put on a great performance. But a lot of these actors that spout up now and spout the stuff, they're not good. There's nothing exceptional about them. I'm tired.
But I will not even separate the artist from the art any longer, because I will not support these evil people.
Anyway,
I won't do it. I absolutely want to see them go bankrupt. I want to see them working a workaday job like everybody else.
well, here's what's weird though. In recent weeks, of course, we had the whole Jimmy Kimmel thing, and then we had Bob Iger coming under fire, and Disney coming under fire by the left, and people.
I've noticed that
they have not stopped boycotting. They're still angry.
Exactly.
Even though they gave Jimmy Kimmel the job back. And
there is literally nothing that Iger can do now. And I have no sympathy.
Nothing who's going to replace him is going to be any better. I'm not.
That's true. I have no sympathy for that company or for Iger. Again, the company can go bankrupt for all I care. In fact, I would very much like that to happen. And then getting to some of what we'll be talking about tonight, Netflix. It's about time. I'm going to have a nice little rant about that one.
We're going to talk about that. I forget what's her name on YouTube. You sent me a video of her once. But she
I've got it in the notes. We'll get to it.
Yeah, she was talking about she was showing clips from all the different children's cartoons on Netflix, which
all right.
Wow. And I have to tell you something. We can yell at Netflix. I'll get to it when we get to the article. Let's talk to the chat.
Right.
Welcome, Big Al. I believe you're first. Hope you have a great show. Hope you're great evening. Rest in peace to fine ladies. Unfortunately, we do have a couple of in remembrances today. Welcome, Marc Malnekoff, Kapla. And Repenti's Lithium Mines. Have a great stream. Like, share, and subscribe. Don't send.
Oh, don't make me send out the Birds of Prey and D7 battle cruisers. We'll be talking about those in just a little bit too.
I'm telling you, the best ships in Star Trek. I do like the Federation ships, but I think the Klingons have the best ships. If I'm being honest here.
The Federation is great when they stick to the looks that work, right? There are some ships that you look at in the Federation and you go,
what were they
thinking?
What the heck
is that? Like the Oberth class. I look at that and I'm like, how did they even get from the secondary hull to the engineering hull? What the heck?
The USS Grissom?
Yeah, the Grissom, exactly. That's Oberth.
What the heck was going on with that?
That's exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. But then you look at like the Miranda class, the Reliant from Star Trek 2, and you're like, okay, I see what they're doing there. That's very cool. And you put that one next to a Constitution class, and you're like, okay, that's a Federation ship.
And then there's the Excelsior class.
Excelsior was a nice
good class,
evolution. Galaxy class is like, okay, now you're starting to get a little ostentatious. And then, of course, the Borg hit, and they're like, okay, let's get a little bit more militant with this again. And they kind of backed off.
Well, the Federation goes through militaristic periods, like like where their guard gets up, and then suddenly
it's almost like good times make soft men. And so on and so forth.
Yes, I've heard
suddenly something happens. Bad times come along, and it's like, oh, we got to get tough again, huh? Yes. Okay.
USRNG, welcome. Connie Cleary, welcome. Deleted Scenes, welcome. They were getting a Deleted Scenes raid. He was talking about a certain young actress.
Touching on that exact same topic.
He's not so young anymore, I'm just saying. Okay, Netters Network.
No, she's kind of hit the wall.
Well, here's the thing. These words hit the wall. I'm not necessarily but there is a point in time where you need to grow up a little bit, and you need to start acting your age, and you're not 25 anymore. Do you understand?
Well, and I think that's exactly where JK comes out and calls her out and says, look, you're clueless. You need to understand the way of the world, and I think there's a lot of people in the entertainment industry that applies to.
Rosefire, welcome, and I do appreciate you always leaving a comment. You and Connie, you always tend to leave something. Thank you on the video. Welcome to Geezers, where the points don't matter, just like Joseph Campbell to Hollywood writers.
Exactly right.
In the early days of Hollywood, you used to have actual writers writing the script. Okay,
right.
You had didn't Fitzgerald write scripts for Hollywood at one point, and then later on, even like Richard Matheson, like he'd do his fiction, but he'd also do. There was like a crossover between
Yes.
script writers would do both. They would write.
And now it seems like
Yeah.
if you are a writer, you can't write a screenplay. It's got to be these specially approved script writers in Hollywood.
Ridiculous.
That's part of where the problem is coming from now. Yes.
Yeah, D. Pensek, welcome. If I'm missing anybody. Oh, Troy Pacelli, welcome. Netters Network, welcome. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just reading off. Jessica Hardo, welcome. Oh wait, that might be copyrighted. Ben rereading Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca for Spooky October, Gothic Victorian romance, suspense, and Art Deco era. Never trust the housekeeper. I should look into reading that. Thank you, Rosefire. I have to tell you something. I've really been upset with Hollywood these past few years. They've driven me to reading. I mean, what are you doing?
For crying out loud!
I finished all the Bond books. I'm upset now. I got to find a new series. I'm toying with the idea of Master and Commander, starting that series.
Yeah.
Because I've never actually seen that movie. I've always meant to get around to watching it. I just haven't. And British naval ships. I'm hoping it's like Star Trek 2, because that's basically what that movie was naval ships shooting at each other. Lynn Green, welcome. St. Passbed and working on Castle Frankenstein for Halloween night. Well, what is...
Wow.
I'm kind of curious as to what that is, Lynn Green. Is that a Lego set? I did a Lego Haunted House recently. You know what's funny? They have the official Lego Haunted House, and then they have all these off-brand brick haunted houses, too, you can get.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Part of me was thinking
Some are probably better than others, right?
Part of me, I don't have the money for this, but if I did, I could build like a nice Lego town and then just stick the haunted house in the middle of it, and have all the normal Lego people having to deal with the Wolfman and things like that. Geek Flag Nate knows, welcome. Connie Cleary, Rosefire, did I miss anybody?
Falkenstein Castle in Austria is what she's referring to.
Oh, so maybe that is a Lego set. Usarn G, at my house the moon will soon rise over the roof and it will shortly be obscured behind the pecan tree. Interesting. When you live in the South, you have to learn how to say pecan. It's pecan. Okay, you have to pronounce it right or they'll come after you. Zootopia, welcome. What?
It's all nuts.
Rebecca was
just
also
like the people in Hollywood. They're all nuts.
Yes. Oh, I've seen Rebecca Rosefire. That had that one actress Hitchcock. In fact, Isabella Rossellini's mom, right? I think was in that. I'm so bad with names these days. You know what it is? Part of me thinks that maybe it's just the boomer side of me, and I'm just not remembering things as well. And then part of me thinks that maybe it's just because modern Hollywood is so terrible. I don't want to remember, and I'm even forgetting the old stuff now because I just don't care about the new stuff anymore.
Because you're just tuning out from it. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, I guess we can start with the good old days. I think I picked a good one.
I agree with you.
Provided Troy is familiar with these.
Oh, I am very familiar with most of them. Even the ones I didn't actually have myself, I have some awareness.
I had a few of these. Well, let's just get into it. It is the world of Star Trek model kits. And even in the late 80s is when I tried getting into these. And because, what's cooler than watching the Enterprise? It's having it in your living room to look at.
And the other thing, too, is that, and I think people that have been following me long enough have known that I have strong feelings about Star Trek marketing. They have done a poor job of marketing their stuff, and the models are probably was probably your best option for a very, very long time for Trek memorabilia and Trek
toys.
Items.
Toys were hard to find, and then then on the other end you had the really expensive stuff like the pewter miniatures that. I'm sorry, as a kid living in the 80s, you ain't going to be buying those. You wish you could. That'll be all your lines. Or the collector's plates, which look nice, but I'm like, I can't afford these as a child.
Exactly.
They used to do that on TV all the time. They had like the Time Life book series,
Yep.
The Enchanted World, and I'm like, whoa, I really want to get that. Oh, I can't really.
Yeah.
I don't have the money for that. My mom and dad will not let me subscribe to that. Oh well, you know. I finally found them in public libraries years later. They were actually very well done books. Those Time Life Enchanted World books. Awesome. I had
Miguel
many.
says, yeah, I had many glue headaches doing these models. Were you actually doing these models, or were you just doing the glue?
Funny man. Actually, I remember I used testers. Is that what you use to glue these with?
I started out with testers. That was how I started. And then I realized there is actually better options. So I started going to the liquid cements and then the JD Weld later on.
Yeah, I model making is something I'd like to get back into someday if I ever have the time. I bought a Castle of Cagliostro model kit for an anime movie called Lupin the Third Castle of Cagliostro, and I got it. It's actually from Japan, and I got it in a geek store in Orlando, I think, called it's not the Intergalactic Trading Company. I think it was some other place like that, maybe Forbidden Planet. It was one of those types of places or Planet Sci-Fi. It was something sci-fi in the title, I remember now. But anyway, I got this model kit, and I was like, I have to practice before wasting my efforts before trying this, because I might mess this up. So then I tried getting a James Bond model kit, but I didn't get the right paint, and then it just
yeah.
They did reproductions of the older model kits. They had a Connery one for cheap, so I picked that up.
Netter Clue Clue Studio is asking, Netter, feeling better?
Yeah, I answered him in chat.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually feeling okay. I don't even have a sore throat or anything, but I still have no voice. So, because somebody else was asking me about that too. Rosefire was asking me. I'm going to have to call my ENT tomorrow and say, look, when I went to your office a week and a half ago, this happened, and I haven't had my voice back. So, how are you fixing me?
Yeah.
There's something that, I'm telling you, man. It's half the time I get sick. It's because I went to a doctor's checkup. It's okay.
Very likely.
But Geek Flag says he owned 3 model kits from Star Trek. I used to have the Klingon Bird of Prey, the Romulan Warbird from the Next Generation, and the Sovereign Class Enterprise Z. Excellent. Oh, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Nate. This is $2 for Netter. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
You should check out videos from Wonderfest, an annual model show. I've been to it, and it's amazing. Thank you, Depensik. I might look into that. But yeah, let's get back into this, though. These were the Star Trek model kits. I kind of have the 3 decades here, 70s, 80s, 90s. This is the 70s one. Did you have this one, the Galileo shuttlecraft?
I did not. I was actually a little bit slower getting into Star Trek than I started with Star Wars. And it wasn't until Star Trek the Motion Picture that I started to really kind of start getting into Star Trek.
Okay.
And not like full blown serious until Star Trek 2. I was like, okay, all right, this is a whole other thing. And that's when I really started diving into it.
Interesting.
So
Well,
and I was going to say, I would go to conventions, and back then, you have to understand conventions then and conventions now, very, very different. Most of the memorabilia you found were either comics, novels, some licensed books.
Yeah.
And the rest was all fan-made, non-licensed stuff.
For Star Trek, you mean?
For Star Trek,
yes. Because it wasn't like Star Wars, which had you get toys and all sorts of things.
Exactly.
Star Trek, it's like,
Star Trek, about the only thing you had was stuff that came from Mego. They were about the only ones doing a license, and that was those, 9-inch action figures and the play set. But, that's why, as far as models go, that's what you kind of gravitated to. And a lot of these models were at the conventions, even if they'd been around for a while. You had the hobby shops coming, setting up tables and selling the stuff. So no, I didn't have, for example, the Galileo 7.
So I got into Star Trek, I think, really between 3 and 4, maybe right after 4 came out. I knew of it, and I'd seen the movies and some episodes of the show, but it didn't become a thing for me where I really got into it till after, I think, 4, and I was And unfortunately at that point there were no toys being made. There was nothing. So
Exactly.
it was really the model kits which I gravitated toward. This I didn't have, but apparently this was a from the
So
70s. Yes, look at
this
that.
was what I was. This is what I was getting leading up to. So there were no. Well, there was a kind of phaser toy. There was kind of a communicator toy, and there was kind of a tricorder. They were terrible. The phaser. There were two phasers in that style that were toys. One shot these little spinning discs, and it was a bit oversized. The other one was like the nose of it was like a light, a flashlight, you know, and it was very clunky. The communicators were this blue plastic, not that
I've
charcoal
seen
gray.
pictures of those. Yeah, yeah.
And they were actual walkie-talkies. I kind of get that. They were very toy-like, not very cosplayish, so to speak. And the tricorder was literally, it vaguely looked like the tricorder, and it was a cassette recorder, is what it was. Which is neat, but again, right? So a lot of people got this set if they wanted to do any kind of cosplay, because then you could make models of these props that looked fairly screen accurate. The problem was these kits were not the kind of kits like the ships, where you had these plastic pieces on sprues that would click together really easily.
Right,
You could
yeah.
paint them.
Yeah.
These were vacuform. So it was a very different skill set, and I wasn't really up to it at that age. See?
I don't feel I was up to even the bigger ships, though. I was better at that than
Yeah.
probably other things. Well, for starters, I always feel like real professional model makers would paint the ships. Like, even if they came with gray plastic, like the ships, you want to still paint them. You know,
Right.
and I would try
exactly.
doing that too. Yeah, I remember painting the Vulcan shuttlecraft. That was one I had. This one looked really cool. This is the bridge.
Yeah.
Look
So
at that. I have a
this
close-up,
one
yeah.
I did not have, but a buddy of mine did have. He put it together, and I was very judgy of it. I mean, let's be honest. I was envious. I had wanted this, didn't have it, but my buddy had it, and I'm looking at it going, I could have done this so much better. And then he ended up, some of the characters like broke away, and he lost them, and it ended up getting broken over time. And I'm like, oh God, why? God, why do you give things to people that don't deserve them and won't take care of them?
Well,
You
to
know?
be fair with your friend, I will say this. Part of the problem is that these skills, I guess, mildly develop over time. Like, I have a suspicion this set was professionally painted right here. I
Oh,
don't think
sure,
the figures
yeah.
came looking like this. I think,
Right.
and I think it's a skill set. And like you see, like like the guy with the microscope and painting with the fine brush, that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
I mean, I always give credit to people who could do this stuff well, but this is the Enterprise, and I could be wrong, but I believe I must have had a variation of this, because I have a suspicion that the Enterprise model kit that I got in the late 80s was probably just a reproduction of this one, right?
It was, yeah, absolutely. This was probably the most popular Enterprise, and
I wanted the one from the newer movies, the refit model. They didn't have that, so I had to get this one.
and this was, and
Which has
the
its own
problem
charm.
there.
Yes.
The problem there is that if you got this and the Enterprise refit, they weren't in scale with each other, which is
Are
really
you kidding me?
not exactly. No, yeah.
Oh, that's so annoying. Oh.
It was very difficult if you wanted all of your ships to be in scale. You really also had to determine what scale did you want to go with. Eventually, and we'll get there, I don't want you to jump ahead, but the Enterprise D was probably one of the largest Enterprise
Yep.
that you could get, and you didn't want to go larger, so you wanted everything to be much, much smaller, so you'd have to actually go to a smaller scale of ship than this to put it next to your Enterprise D, and
Well, part of me wonders though with
depends what you
models, if
wanna
you
do.
were to hang them, you could. Oh, this is further in the distance. You could maybe
You can do your forced
pretend that,
perspective kinds of things.
pretend like
That's
it's a
true.
forced perspective thing, like if you're doing like a.
What I also liked about this is they thought through customization. Maybe you weren't going to make the Enterprise. Maybe you were going to make
A
the
different ship.
the Excalibur or something else. And so they had
Look at that.
decals with
Yep.
all the different numbers you could choose.
Yep.
You could make up your own. The entire alphabet, plus they printed out ship names that had already been used on screen and stuff like this. You can make whichever ship you wanted to make.
I'm trying to remember. Were these on adhesive, like
It was water
stickers?
transfers. Yeah, you'd cut out the numbers.
Water
that
transfers.
you want.
That's right.
You dip them in water and then you'd slide them onto.
Oh, that was a pain. I remember that now. Yeah, because they would rink. You have to watch for them getting wrinkled and like getting crooked when you put them on.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I was
now.
actually really good with them. In fact, I got
better. Yeah.
I got so good that even when they tore, I was able to affix them.
Fix them. I did that too. Yeah, it rings a bell. But yeah, this was the Enterprise, and I think I first started out. I would like paint the red parts, but I would leave the rest. Oh, what's the color? Then I thought about it later. No, you should really paint it the whole thing, and now you put the decals on. So it's one of these things where you're
as I got better and better, I struggled with wanting to put electronics into them.
Oh yeah,
but that's a whole other
it's a whole
level.
other thing people do.
One thing you don't realize, you think, oh, I could just run, I put lights behind and drill out a hole or whatever. No, you literally have to now paint the entire inside with multiple coats of black that the light doesn't shine through the plastic.
I didn't even think about that.
Yup.
Oh wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is I'm assuming Nouveau, that's French because they were probably also selling this in Canada. Star Trek The Motion Picture, USS Enterprise. Oh, that's a beauty. That's my favorite Enterprise.
It really, really is.
Yeah.
This was probably the first ship model that I did from Star Trek.
Yeah.
Was this one.
Like it a lot. Die cast pretty close in scale with the Phasma model. So that's interesting. I didn't know that.
We'll get to that in a moment.
That'll be a future thing when we go into the smaller models. That might be a future talk. But there's the Enterprise.
That is a great example of. So this is clearly built by. Well, first that's a custom base. That base didn't come with it.
Yeah, they never gave you a base. You were supposed to hang them. I think that was the idea with fishing wire.
And this looks very much like the way I painted it, because the person who painted this literally followed the instructions, which honestly weren't quite screen accurate. So,
well, like they would say, baby blue for the blue part in the middle. Really? Is that what it looks like in the movie?
Yeah.
Well, and then you go to the model store and you buy your little things of paint, right?
Yeah.
Your little. Were they also testers or were they something else? Yeah, testers.
Which unfortunately was an enamel, and I hated working with enamel, and it wasn't until many years later that I learned, I should have just been using acrylics all this time.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that's what I should do.
But here's the other thing. That blue for the deflector dish there. Yes, that's the correct base color. Then you have to go in with a lighter color and kind of dry brush around the edges.
You want to make it seem like there's light coming out of it.
Exactly. You don't just do one tone, but if you're going to do just one tone, I guess that's where you start.
Yeah. But, again, if you're looking for Star Trek memorabilia that was affordable, because there was stuff that was expensive that was nice, but I couldn't afford it. You're a kid, and let's face facts, they weren't great with the toys, especially by the time I got into it.
So Lynn points out, yes, this one did come with a base. What it was it was in the shape of the Enterprise, what do you call it? The arrowhead, kind of in three dimensions. And she's right. The way you put the secondary hull down into this curve of it, and the problem was that the ship wasn't balanced for that base. So if you were going to use that base, you either had to glue it to the base, or you had to drill a peg into it or something like that, which is why most people did basically what you're seeing in this picture here. Yeah.
Star Trek fans take a lot of abuse. Okay, I remember having this actually. I don't think it had the Star Trek the motion picture thing on it, or maybe it did. It's been so long, but I remember getting this, and I remember this one I knew I had to paint because like this ain't no gray. This is like I got to get the copper, the
Yep.
tester's copper coloring,
Yep.
and paint this. This one didn't turn out too bad, as I recall, because I
Cool.
think it's basically just all one color, right? So it wasn't like I had to really work that hard. And you would glue the, and I know they could snap together, but I would still glue them.
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
and that thing, that upper part would detach because that's the thing that Spock was in when he went to the Enterprise and Star Trek Motion Picture, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so they call it the Vulcan shuttle, but essentially what it was a warp. I think it was referred to as a warp sled in one of the technical manuals, and it made perfect sense. In that era, before you had so-called runabouts, you wanted the equivalent of a warp-capable shuttle.
Sure.
So that a starship wouldn't have to return to base. You could it would literally be a Corvette. You'd send it out to deliver an emissary or whatever to a ship, rather than having them have to come back or whatever.
I think this is like the only Vulcan ship I've ever seen in a model set too.
There have been some since Enterprise.
Okay. Of course, moving on, we have the Romulan Bird of Prey. This one I did have. This had the decal, the full-on decal you had to put on it. I remember that.
That's a heck of a decal too.
Yeah, it's a big one. I remember that. So I did have this one. I had this one. I put it together. Again, I always thought the Romulan Warbird was. You could tell it was around in the '60s, right? That's very like 1960s design.
Yeah.
And of course we get the
I have a number of these, including one that I have upstairs that I haven't even started working on yet. Yeah.
These I liked a
D7.
lot. Big fan of the Klingon battle cruiser.
Yep.
Wonderful design ship. I mean, it was on the original series, but then we see it again.
We can argue over whether it's
Picture.
D7 or Katinga, whether they're two different ships or the same ship. But the fact is, I love this style of ship.
Oh, Depensec had the Romulan Bird of Prey too. Here's the thing: these models were available long after the '70s.
Yeah.
They would reprint them. This I had. These were the minis. Remember the minis?
Yeah. Yeah, and what was nice about this is these ships absolutely were in scale with each other. That was nice, yeah.
And I put these together, and then you know what I did? I had an old school, those old school record players they give kids, they came in like a briefcase. You'd open them up and put a record on them.
Mm-hmm.
I attached these three ships and then turned the record player on just so I could see them go like in a circle.
Oh, like they're chasing each other? Oh, I love that. That's so cool.
That's what you do when you're a kid because you can't afford the fancy stuff. You figure, what do I have in the house that I can make work with this?
Right. I love that.
Neat. In fact, I believe I got these on a trip to Washington, D.C. when we were visiting the Smithsonian. And I was very upset because the Smithsonian, have you ever been to the Smithsonian? I've been there once.
I have not.
It's like one of the largest museums in the country. Mm-hmm. You're not going to find everything. And I heard either it wasn't out or I couldn't find it, but they said that the original Enterprise for the original Star Trek television series was on display in the Smithsonian. I suppose I could have asked one of the guides.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah,
but I couldn't find it, and then we ran out of time. And I knew I had heard that it was in there.
Yeah.
And obviously not the one from the movies, but the one from the old series. I think
right, the original.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So moving on to now, we're going to get into. I never saw these myself, but apparently they had actual figures, models of the actual characters too.
Apparently so. I was never into, because this is again a whole different. Trying to paint, realistic looking flesh tones
and clothes, like wrinkles.
Yeah,
on clothes
I was not.
Stuff. Yeah,
I didn't have that kind of skill. And let's face it, when it came to the figures, I was doing the whole Mego thing, so I wasn't looking for static plastic models. But I get it.
Like I said, the Bond one. I know they did monsters like this too, like the old Dracula and the styles too. I wonder if they were all in scale with each other. I didn't think about that. Of course, Star Trek: The Next Generation, when that came on the scene, you had the Star Trek: The Next Generation model kit. I remember seeing this hanging in a comic shop. Wow. This thing was huge.
I got this one. I built it, and this was the first ship that I took the time to go in and do all the Aztecing on. So I literally went in with different shades of blue and gray to do the little panels on the saucer. And it's like, yeah, it turned out looking great. And I kept it so that it could be, and so you'd have to mount it appropriately.
Yeah.
I had to do custom bases for it because I was not going to affix that saucer section to the neck. I wanted to be able to pose it,
break it off if you had to.
Yeah, and do the saucer separation and pose them separately or together, however I chose. Yeah.
Oh,
Star
thank
Trek
you, Flag. The Enterprise is in the basement along with Michael Keaton's Batmobile. Well, thank you for that.
Wow, that's cool.
Sonian again.
Yeah.
All the best stuff. I do have a picture of the model outside, and I think this is what the trouble people ran into with this. You don't have it on that stand; it's tilting. Right?
Yeah, and that's, you'll notice too, that stand, the little peg, that's broken. That's broken.
Yeah.
And it was that saucer was very front heavy. So what would be the best thing to do would be to mount it on that base, but then have a completely separate base to support that saucer. And then, like I said, if you want to separate the two and display them separately, you absolutely could do that.
I believe Lynn Green wrote earlier she had this kit as well.
Yeah.
But I guess you could also hang this too, like the comic book shop did, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Okay. Moving on to Robin the Bird of Prey. I think Geek Flag was mentioning he had this particular one. Is this like a 3-set, another tri-set
yes,
like
is.
The one? Okay, I never saw
just
this
like
one.
the other. But and again, these 3 ships were arguably in scale with each other. You could debate about the Bird of Prey. There's a lot of sizing arguments about the Bird of Prey, but yes, these 3 ships were intended to be in the same scale with each other. And honestly, that Romulan Warbird was a pretty big ship.
Yeah, no, the model looked cool. I mean, it's not necessarily my favorite TNG design because I felt like they were kind of designing it around trying to use it with CG, but I think the model kit itself looks actually pretty cool when you see it like in physical form rather than the original, I guess, CG version. Yeah, so not bad. And to be fair, I found the original Romulan Bird of Prey. I know it's iconic. I do think it's a little silly looking myself, but I love the Klingon Bird of Prey. Like I said, the Klingons have the best ships, but
yes, they do.
Even the more modern version of the battle cruiser and the TNG era, I still look pretty good. But yeah. And then of course I'm going to end with Deep Space Nine because of course I know they did a ship based on that.
The only reason I did not get this was because there was a toy line that put out a Deep Space Nine that was mostly in scale with the little Galoob miniatures. And those Galoob miniatures were in scale with the FASA die-cast metal ships. So if I was going to do a battle scenario at Deep Space Nine using that scale of ships, I already had a toy that was good enough with electronic sound that I was like, I'm not going to bother building the model.
Yeah, well, by then maybe the toys were getting a bit better too. I think
they were. Galoob was, like I said, was starting to put out these micro machine, from their micro machine lines. They had the license to do Star Trek ships. They also did Star Wars ships as well, and yeah, they were a little cheap. They were some of the finer pieces were a little bit stubby and gummy, but they worked real well when your purpose was to have a bunch of ships for combat, for the combat game. So
yeah. But anyway though, I brought this up because we do have an article at the end that maybe there's some new Star Trek model kits coming out. Well, maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. One of them looks okay because it's the original Enterprise, and the others are we'll
get to that. Yeah,
we'll save that. Let's get into the news. Oh, I don't want to get into the news. Well, first we have some in remembrances, but we want to pay our respects.
Yeah,
here we are, and Oh, a big one. Yeah. So Dame Patricia Routledge, dead at 96.
Yes. So those of you that remember the show Keeping Up Appearances, I actually really liked that show. She played the character of Hyacinth Bouquet, as she pronounced it. Everyone else called her Mrs. Bucket.
Insisting it was pronounced bouquet, Hyacinth
Yes.
ran roughshod over her long-suffering husband and bewildering neighbors, keeping up appearances one of Britain's most successful sitcoms in the 1990s, behaving like a duchess while living in a suburb. Bouquet's monstrous social climbing schemes were ultimately doomed to failure while she battled to maintain her dignity. It was Dame Patricia's most famous role in a career that saw her win theatrical awards on both sides of the Atlantic, become the star of Alan Bennett's famous TV monologues, and become BBC One's crime-busting Hetty Wainthropp. Catherine Patricia Rutledge was born in Birkenhead on the 17th of February 1929. Her father was a haberdasher, and she later recalled sheltering from German bombs in the basement of his shop during the war. That's something you think only exists in movies and TV, but of course it happened in real life, right?
Absolutely not.
Yes.
My mother-in-law told us stories about that. Yeah.
But the fact that she's the daughter of a haberdasher,
Yes,
when you think of a
exactly.
haberdasher, that's very of the period, yeah.
Right.
She studied English at the nearby Liverpool University and intended to teach. Instead, she joined the Liverpool Playhouse for training at the Bristol Old Vic. Her successful stage career took her from the provinces to the West End and eventually to Broadway, where Leonard Bernstein chose her to star in his musical 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue in 1976. She had already won a Tony Award for her performance in Darling of the Day. She could move effortlessly from comedies to classics. She went from Stratford upon Avon, appeared with the Royal Shakespeare Company, and then the National Theatre in London. There, her starring role on the stage musical Carousel involved her singing the rousing "You'll Never Walk Alone." Yeah, she's in a major film roles like To Sir with Love and the Jerry Lewis comedy outing Don't Raise the Bridge, Lower the River.
Oh yeah.
And were you a fan of hers? I'm just curious.
I like that show in particular, the Keeping Up Appearances.
Yeah, and apparently that mystery show sounds interesting. Maybe I should check that out.
Yeah,
Playing
I
the
didn't
home-
know about that. I'll have to look into that. Yeah.
Look at this. Playing the homely but astute detective in Hetty Wainthropp Investigates brought her continued success on television, but she always called the stage the test. Well, she's a classical actor, right? So, so
Yeah.
actress, yeah. All right, but rest in peace. She said, I'll read a quote from her, I was never stage struck. She said, I'm not stage struck now. Nobody's more surprised than I am that I have, in fact, spent my whole life doing this. Interesting. Okay. But unfortunately, she did pass away this week.
Yeah.
All right. Anything left to say?
No, that's it.
Move on. Sweet Bouquet. Okay. Not Bucket.
I mean, she was
All
what,
right.
90? She was what, 96?
96, yeah.
Yeah.
Jane Goodall also passed
Yeah.
away this week.
Yep.
Hold on. Where the heck did I go? Okay. Legendary conservationist Jane Goodall dies at 91. Dr. Jane Goodall's research into chimpanzees brought her international fame and gave the world its first real insight into humans' closest relative in the animal world. Well, then why did they call the movie Gorillas in the Mist?
That wasn't Jane Goodall. That was.
Never mind! Moving on! Oh... This is why you don't open your mouth live on air. Okay, Jane Goodall, the famed primatologist.
No, that makes it so much better because it's
I thought you observed gorillas. That was a different lady scientist, you dolt. Okay.
Diane Fossey, I believe.
Yes, there you go. Okay, is she
There
still
you go.
alive? Anyway, foot and mouth. Okay, so Jane Goodall, the famed primatologist, anthropologist, conservationist, has died according to the institute she founded. She was 91 years old. Goodall died of natural causes while in California on a speaking tour of the United States. The institute said in a statement on social media on Wednesday, Dr. Goodall's discoveries as an ethologist, revolutionized scientist, I said that correctly, and she was a tireless advocate for the protection and restoration of our natural world, according to the Institute. The British primatologist was scheduled to speak Wednesday at an event in Pasadena, California, to students from the surrounding area. A video message Goodall recorded ahead of the event was played instead, in which she shared her thoughts on the environment and youth empowerment. I've been working on trying to make this a better world for animals, people, and the environment flat out since 1986. And one of my greatest reasons for hope is that in this battered world is the youth. She offered advice to others about being mindful of their everyday lives. So yeah, she passed away. She was a household name when you and I were growing up, right? So
Yeah, and obviously at university when I was majoring in psychology, there was at least a couple chapters on her in different classes because the study of primates is applicable to the understanding of humans who are also primates. You know, we do
Yes.
tend to compare, learning about them, we can learn something about ourselves, and you know that's something she definitely she is credited with a lot of our understanding of chimpanzee behavior that really was not well understood, and she also she had a couple different methods. She would study from afar so that she would not interfere, but she also became very interactive with them as well, which has is a different way of learning about them. That 91 years old. Yeah.
And I did watch that Planet Earth documentary where they showed the chimpanzees going to war. Did you ever watch that segment?
Yes, I did.
Rather horrifying.
It really is, and you realize that we probably have more in common with them than we had thought. Oh,
Well,
by the way, I looked it up, and I didn't even realize this. Diane Fossey died in 1985. She was assassinated.
that's awful.
Yeah, it is.
Please don't do that to your fellow human beings. Anyway, especially in light of recent events. What was I going to say, though? That thing in the Planet Earth documentary that made me shocking, though, was that the scientists weren't understanding why, even after killing the young chimp in the other tribe, why they... I know it's an easy source of protein, but why were they eating the other chimp?
Usually it is a... It is believed that they're doing it out of spite. Yeah,
because it makes me worried about what some of our ancestors might have done when no one was
well,
looking. Okay,
there's plenty of evidence. You go far enough back and you look at the interactions between Neanderthal and what do you call it? Homo habilis? I forget, but they do find some of the remains, and they're like, oh, those are teeth marks.
Yikes. Okay. Well, yeah. Rest in peace, Jane Goodall.
Yeah.
I lost my spot. Hold on. There I am. Okay. Moving on to. Some happy news, at least for me. I get to play Blood finally. This is like a boomer shooter on my wish list that got a nice remaster on the PC a few years ago, but didn't get a release on consoles, even though it was a Night Dive remastered. And I think so that was the one I sent you.
Yes.
But now we have Blood Refresh Supply. The quote-unquote definitive edition of Monolith Productions' classic shooter is coming to Nintendo Switch, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, PS4, PS5, and PC on December 4th. It's also launching for Nintendo Switch 2 in early 2026. Night Dive Studio previously released Blood Fresh Supply for PC in 2019, offering an enhanced version of the original. Refresh Supply is remastered with 4K resolution support, unlocked frame rates, with consoles running up to 120 frames per second, split-screen online co-op for 8 players, the Vault, and more. I'm wondering if now, because you own the Fresh Supply, if you'll get this version for free. We'll see. I know something they do that. Alongside the original campaign, it includes the add-ons Plasma Pack and Cryptic Passage. There's also a new scenario, Marrow, with a second Death Wish arriving post-release, so stay tuned for more details. If the Death Wish scenario is a reanimated Paul Kersey from the Death Wish movies, I am sold.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Anyway, Charles Bronson. If I could play as Charles Bronson shooting an undead cult, that would be cool. Before Blood Refresh Supply, Night Dive has a remaster of Outlaws going live on November 20th, based on 1997 first-person shooter by LucasArts Outlaws, plus a handful of missions. Remaster will be available on all platforms aside from Switch 2. Oh, it's not coming out on Switch 2. Interesting. Yeah, Outlaws was interesting because the actor who played Q, John Delancey, he does a voice in the game as one of the villains, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
But really cool boomer shooter. I might pick this up on Xbox because I want a horror themed shooter for my Xbox. Let me see. So moving on to any last thoughts on Blood?
No.
You get to
I
shoot-
hadn't heard about this
You
before.
get to shoot around a evil, I don't know if it's satanic or Lovecraftian cult that they're doing bad things. You get to blow them out of the water as a guy that's risen from the dead to go shoot them. Okay, so I'm looking forward to it. It doesn't take much these days. That's what I'm saying. I'm always down on gaming, but then Night Dive announces they're remastering another old shooter, and I'm happy again. It's weird.
Yeah.
And plus, it comes out on stuff I already own. I don't have to buy a new console to play it on. Now here's the one of the big stories of the week. Oh no. Xbox Game Pass pricing skyrockets as gamers cancel services in droves. I think I was watching an Asmongold short on this, and he basically was reading a comment on Twitter, and this one guy said, when I wanted to return back to the days of the Xbox 360, that didn't mean I wanted to pay $360 a year for Game Pass.
Right.
Because it actually equals out that amount. Gamers are rushing to cancel Xbox Game Pass after waking up today to some of the most unwelcome news they could imagine. Microsoft confirmed that Xbox Game Pass pricing would see its biggest hike yet, with the popular Ultimate tier rising from $19.99 to $29.99 per month. Per month!
Yeah.
The staggering 50% price increase blindsided loyal fans who supported Game Pass since its inception. Now, I have a question. Why were you supporting Game Pass from your inception? Because it's a glorified rental service. You're not owning these games. I can count on my hand games I've rented in my lifetime when they used to have rentals. I can count on one hand. Because I believe in owning the stuff. I don't... Okay.
Yep.
The staggering 50% price increase blindsided. Okay, yeah. For years, Microsoft marketed the service as the best value in gaming, a low monthly price granting access to hundreds of titles, day one releases, and cloud streaming. But any goodwill that Xbox might have built up is now being squandered in a single move. Did people seriously think the prices on Game Pass weren't going to increase over time? That's how they get you. They get you hooked into the service, and then suddenly you're paying for the price of a game per month. You're buying a service now.
Yep.
Now, trust me, right now it's $29.99. What's to stop $59.99 a year from now?
Right.
Okay. The announcement triggered, and what do you own with that $59.99? You own nothing. You don't even own digital copies. They're glorified rentals. The announcement triggered an immediate reaction. Reports surfaced that the official Xbox website cancellation page has become overloaded within hours of news breaking. The demand to cancel Xbox Game Pass was so great that the system could not handle the sudden surge. If there was ever a sign that gamers have reached their breaking point, this was it. And I do want to credit WW Pro. That's where we're getting this article from. What the price increase looks like. Game Pass Ultimate, $29.99 a month from $19.99. PC Game Pass, $16.49 a month was $11.99. Standard console plan, $14.99 a month, rebranded as premium. Entry level core plan remains $9.99 a month, but now rebranded as essential. Do you understand? You at least need to have one of these.
Yes.
Years back, Xbox unveiled that in order to play with games with people online, it would cost you like $9.99 a month, and gamers went for it, which they shouldn't have, because being able to play online with other people, you go out and you buy the latest Madden football or the latest Call of Duty game, and you want to play online, well, that's free. That's part of what you paid the $60 for, and people did that on PC, and to be fair, PlayStation 3 did the same thing. But the trouble is, when Xbox introduced a pay tier just to play with people online, all the other companies started doing it. Mm-hmm. Sony took a while. PlayStation 3 was still free for that generation, but when PlayStation 4 came out, no, you had to pay to play online. And that's not even including getting games to play for free with the service. Microsoft argues that the highest cost reflects new benefits. Ultimate members will gain access to Ubisoft Plus Classics. You like Ubisoft Classics?
No.
Okay.
No.
More day
I don't like these companies at all.
More day one releases and expanded cloud streaming options for many gamers. The perks don't justify the sudden price shock. After the core value of Game Pass was accessibility, gaming for everyone, regardless of budget, nearly $360 per year, Game Pass Ultimate now costs more than a brand new console in just 3 years of subscription fees. No, yeah, it costs more than a modern Xbox console with 3 years of subscription fees. You used to be able to get a console and a game for $360.
Right.
This is ridiculous. And now it's a glorified rental service. Reactions online have been overwhelmingly negative. See, the idea is you have to boil the frog.
Right.
The trouble is they turned the heat up too much and the frog jumped out of the pot. That's what happened here.
Well, I hope the frog jumped out of the pot. I mean, it's about time people start getting their head together and stop this stuff.
People can't afford this stuff. They're increasing the prices. Okay, social media lit up with angry posts, memes, and screenshots of cancellation confirmations across Reddit and X. Players share proof that they were dropping the service in protest, with many threads filled with complaints that the price hike felt like corporate greed. Gaming forums are packed with debates over alternatives. Some players are considering a shift back to physical game purchases, while others are weighing a move to competing services like PlayStation Plus. The general sentiment is that nearly $30 per month Game Pass has crossed the line where convenience no longer outweighs cost. But again, I don't even understand, like, not that I'm one to even tout the PC, because I know that's more Troy's thing, but I'll say this with Steam. Steam has sales all the time. You can get games for like a couple bucks.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
That's why his generous friend here, who paid $1.99 for that Flood game for him, you know.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have a gangster game it's under $2.
Yeah.
On my wish list, and I'm like, do I want? It's not a question
of. You could wait for it to go down to 99 cents.
No. It's not even the price. It's, do I have the time to play this game? If I spend this $2 on this game, will I play the game?
Well, you buy it so you have it in case it's taken off because of certain Australian Karens.
Point there, that is true.
Australian Karens that don't want you playing that game. But
right.
Anyway, exactly. I don't know. Anyway, so matter of that's another thing. Gaming just. Okay, Boomer. Just remember, you have Blood Refresh Supply coming out. Right. Come on. You got that old LucasArts Western game coming out too. That looks good. So, this is the first time Microsoft faced backlash for heavy-hand decisions. In 2020, the company attempted to double the price of Xbox Live Gold before reversing course after fan outrage. Yeah, they reversed course because people screamed and they we're not going to do that. Xbox hardware sales continue to trail behind PlayStation and Nintendo. Xbox hardware is starting not to show up on store shelves. Costco has eliminated it. As I said, I forgot to send that article to you, but Costco.
Well, and why do stores do that? Because they're not selling, and if they're not selling, you're taking up real estate for things that do sell.
They're noticing, like the Australian equivalent of GameStop. They're showing all the game consoles when their ads. The Xbox is not there. Yeah. And I think it's only a matter of time before this stuff starts happening in the States with all these stores. I think the Xbox is finished. I think there's all sorts of rumors now leaking out about the future. One of these rumors that was going around the internet right now is that from some guy from within the company says Xbox is done with consoles. Now, they might loan out the brand to other people that want to make their own Xbox-type PC or something, and they'll just slap Xbox on it, but I think Microsoft is done internally making consoles. I think they're finished. Another thing I've heard is that this lowest Xbox Live tier, the $9.99 one, will feature commercials while you play.
You gotta be kidding me.
I have this image of someone playing Elden Ring like about to beat a boss, and then suddenly one of those stuck poop commercials comes on. With the gray-haired doctor saying, don't eat these foods. And you're like, what is this? It would be like right at a crucial moment in the game and you get stuck with a commercial. Oh, and then all those signs. Well, you can buy one of the premium tiers. Some people have been making I was watching a video earlier about how they're putting commercials in everything. Apparently there's a fridge you can buy from Samsung that's supposed to be a smart fridge, and it's got a screen, and then all it does is play advertising on it.
Oh, God.
Would you like that when you're trying to grab an apple from the fridge or something, and then like it's giving you advertising for...
Not unless I could go in and reprogram it myself, so that when I go in and I'm grabbing, the chocolate pudding or something, your wife did get yogurt.
Funny, man. Funny. We're all gonna have to become hackers and start hacking into these devices because it's ridiculous.
Exactly.
the government should really be stepping in with this stuff and saying no. I don't know what's going on.
Well,
Uh,
there's only so much that the government could do. I mean, there's a lot the government needs to do, and a lot of it's getting done. So
no,
yeah.
I'm not picking on that. You're right.
Right.
They have a lot on their plate. You know who actually needs to step in? It's not even the government. It's Consumer Reports.
Well,
They need to start trashing companies to do this.
I miss Consumer Reports.
They're
They
still
used
around.
to be. Well, are they though? Are they really?
They're at your local public library.
Yeah. Well,
You know, your local public library.
yeah.
They are in the reference section. You cannot check those out. But but a friendly worker or employee will show you how the index works. And sometimes, if you are a library card owner, you would get access to the online edition of Consumer Reports too. Not that
There
I'm
you
trying to
go.
plug libraries or anything. Anyway, the company
What's really
seems.
cool about libraries, though, it's like I know at least the one around by us.
Yes.
They will sometimes book a like an author or something around the spooky time just to tell spooky tales. There's a fellow that does
Oh,
this
yeah.
every year at the one by us,
Yeah.
who talks about vampires and
Yeah.
legends of vampires and all this.
Yeah.
And it's a good like 2 hour
Yeah.
Lecture, basically.
presentation.
Yeah.
It's really cool, and especially around Halloween.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
saying, check out your public library for some spooky ghost stories.
Yeah, we had one at mine too. He was doing like Florida ghosts, and it was interesting because I'm hearing all these local Florida legends, and it was a nice little evening. It was a break from school, and I sat down and I listened to the ghost stories. So yeah, if you're check it out, they got good stuff going on at your local library, and they don't charge either. Sometimes they want you to register ahead though if they think there's going to be a crowd, but that's it. Did I talk about Bond yet? Is there a Bond thing going on? I wasn't aware. I'll have to look that up for next week.
That actually just broke. I just saw it today. We
I don't
didn't really
wanna
have
know.
time
Did
to
they
get
cast?
in. No, you do not. No, you don't. You don't want to know. You don't. Let's not even.
Okay,
don't
we'll
even
talk about it next
spend
week.
the energy
Person.
on it now. Yeah.
We'll talk about it next week. We got other bad energy with the Xbox. This was a follow-up article. Microsoft gave up on 300 million in Call of Duty sales as a result of Game Pass. So of course, you subscribe to Game Pass, you get Call of Duty for free. Well, you don't get it for free. You get to play it while you're subscribed to Game Pass. The trouble is this cut into the sales they would normally have from Call of Duty because people play that mainly for the online mode these days. So
Yeah.
Microsoft gave up 300 million, and people inside Microsoft are wondering about the Xbox division. Like, what are you doing? We spent all this money on Activision, and we're not even getting the profits that we would have gotten from having these exclusives. It's like,
Right. Although it makes me wonder. Well, between the price of the Game Pass and them not getting the game, it's like, well, screw it. I'm not even going to play this damn Call of Duty crap.
in the recent Bloomberg report, Microsoft has reportedly given up a potential 300 million on Call of Duty sales as a result of putting the game on Game Pass. Report Cecilia D'Anastio said the price hike and other changes to the Game Pass plans are saying that Xbox's big streaming push is not generating the revenue it would like 8 years after launch, according to interviews with 7 current and former Xbox employees. The company is putting some of its top titles on the streaming service, but that's cutting into sales of higher margin games like Call of Duty, which came with Microsoft 2023 acquisition. Activision Blizzard said the people who asked to not be identified discussing internal company matters. People inside the company, they're letting it fly right now.
Oh yeah,
They probably think they're not going to have
Because
jobs soon. Yeah.
they know that this is like a Hail Mary for them. It's like, maybe if somebody blows the whistle on it, it'll force the people, the morons above me, to change course and maybe save our damn business.
Okay. Any Xbox fans in the chat?
Not
It's
anymore.
okay if you. Well, here's the thing. I am going to say this. I go on these rants each week. At the end of the day, it is just hardware. You can like the hardware. You can hate the company that owns it. Like, you know, let's say you're feeling down in the doldrums because Xbox is on its way out. You can still get yourself blood refresh supply on it. you know, and just ignore the Game Pass crap until you decide what you're going to do next. You know, I'm not judging you. I mean, all the consoles right now I think are not great. Of course, some would argue the Switch is not really a console, but anyway. I'm a Super Nintendo fan, aren't we all? Anyway. I'm telling you, Nintendo, if Nintendo were just to re-release the SNES and just re-release cartridges for it, they would just sell like gangbusters. But or even re-release the original Game Boy with the cartridges and have it like backlit.
Mm-hmm.
That would be so cool, but nobody cares. Okay.
Nope.
All right. From real sport to esports, Saudi Arabia spent $55 billion on electronic arts. What the heck is going on?
I know, right? What the heck?
Saudi Arabia is investing in gaming. I think they bought out SNK, which you probably don't know what that is, but yeah, it was a Japanese company.
Yeah.
But oh my goodness, what the heck? Okay, so depending on how much you depending on how you spent or spending your youth or maybe large chunks of your adult years, the phrase EA Sports, it's in the game, is probably ingrained in your memory. And with the blockbuster announcement, Electronic Arts is being sold for $55 billion, while EA is in the news. Noted, not as catchy, but keep in mind the gaming companies being sold for such astronomical amount is not the primary reason the sale is a hot topic of conversation. That has been reserved for where the money is coming from. EA's new owners will be a consortium spearheaded by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, whose portfolio includes Newcastle United, the LIV golf franchise, and a range of boxing events. The takeover of the Premier League club, the investment in boxing, and the creation of the Breakaway Golf Tournament were met with an abundance of scrutiny, and when you consider that EA deal is 11 times the PIF's investment in golf and 180 times the cost of Newcastle, it's perhaps not surprising that the PIF's acquisition of one of the biggest gaming companies in the world has also raised a few eyebrows. Apparently, Jared Kushner is also invested in this. I think I read about that as well. Donald Trump's son-in-law, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. I don't know, though. EA is a company that I don't understand. When you look up rare PlayStation games, one of the top rare PlayStation 2 games is a game called Def Jam Fight for New York, where it's like a wrestling game featuring rappers, like real-life rappers, and it goes for an astronomical amount of money right now. Wouldn't it make sense for them to either remake or remaster that game and put it out again? It would probably sell like gangbusters.
I honestly...
Or Burn Out the Takedown.
This is
like
one of those companies that I definitely feel like they don't want to make money, apparently. They make such horrible decisions. I can't. I can't even.
Well, listen, man. The guy that owned EA is probably getting a nice big fat check, and now he's buying an island where he gets to play the most dangerous game for those who crash on the island by accident. I'm sorry. Well, I'm kidding. Yeah. I often joke when you have that much money.
Actually, that would make for a good game that EA could make if they wanted to make money, but they don't, apparently.
I'm trying to think if there's ever been a video game inspired by the most dangerous game. Maybe Manhunt, which was the Rockstar Games, which was the people that made Grand Theft Auto. They made this game called Manhunt, where you were in this prison, and then I think Brian Cox has released you from prison and let you out on the streets, and he's also let out a bunch of people from an insane asylum, and he wants you to kill them for him, so he can get his jollies off. And like when you would kill someone in like a gruesome way in the game, you could even use the headset that came with the PlayStation 2, and you'd hear Brian Cox whispering in your ear, "Oh, you're really turning me on."
You know, they already have a game based on that. It's called Goat Simulator.
Goat Simulator.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if it kills somebody, they just kind of go flying off somewhere.
That is
it's
a
hilarious.
Genius game.
Def Jam. That's Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons, was he in the game? He might have been. They had a lot of people in the game. You even got to pick your girlfriend, and I think I ended up picking Kimora Lee because she looked the bitchiest, if you'll excuse the phrase, from like these real life celebrity women. So I don't know. It was a ridiculous series, but Manhunt was too intensive for me. I stopped playing after a while. Yeah, it was disturbing because you're going around murdering people in horrible ways. I don't know how that got past the ESRB. The second Manhunt game was forced to censor itself.
Wow.
I think there's a scene where some guy throws urine at you, and that was cut from the game. Like that one, instead you're in an insane asylum and you're trying to break out. Like I don't know if you're really seeing things, if your character's having visions or something, and it's just, anyway, never mind. Rockstar never returned to that series, but they're too busy with Grand Theft Auto now, but oh well. So yeah, that's a lot of money. Your console is dead. Former Microsoft executive and Blizzard boss tells Xbox fans. Okay. That's a little harsh. Don't you think that's a little harsh?
Here we go.
Now tell me my console's dead. Blizzard boss tells Xbox fans the console market isn't a successful business unless you do it right. Mike Ybarra, former president of Blizzard Entertainment and Xbox corporate vice president at Microsoft, comments on the current console market when he doesn't seem to think Xbox is exactly thriving within anymore. In response to a report from IGN and Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Hideki Nishino's recent speech regarding the PlayStation 5 generation of console success, one that has seen Sony rack up $136 billion so far. Ybarra implies as much, but hey, the console market isn't a successful business, writes Ybarra with a seemingly sarcastic undertone, and then it says, it is if you do it right, a statement that feels like a potential shot at Xbox. Ybarra then doubles down on this supposed sentiment in reply to a commentator dubbing him a bitter X, likely referring to his time at Microsoft. Your console is dead, states Ybarra. Console apparently meaning the Xbox X series here. Judging by context, another response, somebody just, everything is a console if you're brave enough. Ybarra then follows up on this, you mean confused enough. Because that was the joke where they were saying everything's an Xbox now. Oh, your PC can be an Xbox. No, my PC's a PC.
Right.
It's like, I don't... because that... it's also important to note that this is the first time Ybarra has commented on Xbox since its departure from Microsoft Gaming Division. After nearly 20 years at the company in 2019, this past February, he discussed the gaming community's frustrations with PS5 and Nintendo Switch exclusives, saying he knows loyal Xbox gamers are mad, but that isn't going to change anything about their existence. Oh, that's not kind.
Right.
Another occasion this year, Ari Barr spoke on the ROG Xbox Ally and urged Microsoft to pick your lane and stick to it, writing that it was tough to see Xbox confused about who it is and what it should be. He concluded, some great people are there still. They have to figure out what needs to change and fast. I suppose it's safe to say Ybarra doesn't think this change has happened yet, or so his latest post would imply anyway. I don't really understand the whole Xbox branding. Back in the day, it was known as like the frat house console. You know, like the extreme.
Okay.
X is in the title. It's extreme. Remember in the late 90s, early 2000s, everything was about extreme.
Right.
Like extreme sports, extreme this. That's where the Xbox was supposed to be feeding into.
Right.
Gonna log off and wait for the beautiful full moon. Good night, everyone. Well, thank you for stopping at Rosefire. You can catch the rest later. But, yeah, so you buying an Xbox Series X for $800?
If you're asking me,
Yes.
you know the answer to that.
You're gonna buy an Ally X portable for $1,000? I don't really know what it does yet, but I'm sure it'll be amazing.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be amazing.
Okay, moving on to. Are we on streaming now? Yes. Okay. Let me go ahead and read. There's a headline streaming. In YouTube TV carriage battles, media companies say tech giant is after their streaming lunch money. Having rapidly grown from a startup to dominant pay TV operator, YouTube TV now appears to be looking to level up by incorporating partners, streaming programming directly into its user interface. This drive to ingest content as opposed to merely integrating third-party services, as many operators already do, has become a point of contention in a carriage standoff with NBC Universal. In the model preferred by YouTube, even streaming exclusives like Premier League Soccer on Peacock, for example, would be accessible directly via YouTube TV as opposed to having to leave the app. The result for the tech giant is better engagement and improved advertising and subscriber metrics, though media companies trying to goose direct to subscriptions would have a tougher time attracting and keeping subscribers. The current NBCU deal, as well as the one with Televisia Univision, are both set to expire Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. What does this mean? Is this basically how, like, if you're subscribed to Peacock, you can also have access to an HBO Max subscription through Peacock?
I think that what we're starting to see here is the consolidation of these companies. Yeah, I think. Okay. It's it was inevitable. They were going to start going. They know they've saturated the market. You can't have all these different outlets, but maybe if we do some licensing deals, we can all benefit from this. It was bound to happen eventually.
This sounds like when Edison went to the guy who what was it?
Tesla?
Yeah, no, Tesla. No, who was his rival? What was Edison's rival? Westinghouse, was it?
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, and Tesla, I think Tesla went to Westinghouse. He's like, what is Edison doing with this? What was it? Alternating current, was it, or something, or was it like? And
Yeah,
I
it
think
became,
finally the other electric company says, look, we still need bulbs. He told Thomas Edison,
Right.
you know, so you can make the
Right.
bulbs. We're not going to horn in on your bulb turf, all right?
Exactly.
You know, so that was an interesting movie. It was called The Current War. It had the guy who played Sherlock in it. As
Which
Thomas Edison.
Sherlock?
Well, there
Yeah,
have
there's been a lot.
Cumberbatch.
Oh,
Cumberbatch.
yeah. I don't think of him as Sherlock Holmes.
Cumberbund?
No, I guess Cumberbund.
Cabbage Patch.
Cabbage Patch.
Everyone thought he would end up playing the Master on Doctor Who. Remember that?
I think anybody that stayed away from modern Doctor Who is probably very sensible.
Well, he was doing another Moffat series, so we thought we might see him guest as the Master. We thought that might end up happening, but oh well. All right. So yeah. I mean, is the streaming war over?
Not yet, but this is indicating a big shift in it.
I feel like the streaming war is lasting longer than World War II, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm not including the British side.
Definitely lasting longer than the VHS Betamax war and however many others.
Yeah, because back in the 80s, companies didn't delude themselves as to whether or not something was succeeding or not. That's the problem right now. You have people in these companies. Let's move on. What's the next streamer we're talking about here? Oh yeah, here's the big one this week. This might be the biggest story of the week. We had a lot of the stories. I could have said the biggest story of the week, but Netflix loses over $15 billion in market value after Elon Musk calls for subscription cancellation. I was watching a WDW Pro panel discussion on this with our friend Culture Casino. He was on it, and they were mentioning that they think Elon Musk is pissed over the recent assassination of Charlie Kirk, and he's now looking.
In fact, I'm going to go ahead and drop the link to exactly that. For you.
Yeah, and you can check that video out. And U.S.-based streaming service Netflix has lost around $15 billion in market capitalization after more than a day after billionaire Elon Musk called for a subscription cancellation due to what he called the quote-unquote woke content promoting transgender ideology for children. And it's funny, when this was first mentioned, I'm like, he's overreacting, I'm sure. And then I'm watching the clips and I'm like, oh no, he is not.
He is not
this
at all.
This stuff is all over the place in this programming. You almost think it was like indoctrination, including popular characters such as the Transformers and a Jurassic Park series. Camp Cretaceous, which has like I think two teenage lesbians confessing their love for each other and kissing, and I'm like, this is something you might have seen in an adult program. I don't know what it's doing on a children's program. It's a dinosaur show. It's
and here's my problem. I mentioned
this. The UK was watching it, and he's like, well, what? This is supposed to be about dinosaurs.
So, hashtag cancel Netflix yesterday was, I don't know about today, but yesterday was the biggest trending hashtag on X. They're losing a lot of money because here's the problem. And I'm getting kind of sick and tired of hearing people say, I don't have time to pay attention to all this stuff. Blah, 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 this and that. Then you're part of the problem. You really are.
You gotta pay attention what your kids are
5
watching.
years out from Cuties. And only just now people are starting to go, oh, look at all this, child exploitation stuff that they've got on this channel. This isn't good. No kidding. We've only been talking about this for 5 years.
Why aren't they sitting in front of the TV where the kids' programming is happening, though?
Because these parents take their children, plop them in front of the TV and walk away.
No, they put the Netflix app on the iPad that they gave them. That's what's going on here.
There's that.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's what's happening here. Because I'm thinking, if it's on the TV, wouldn't they notice this stuff? I mean, we would have seen an outright before now. But they say, oh, you can watch Netflix Kids, and of course they're thinking it's in the kids section because it's marked kids, right?
Yeah.
And so not the adult, like you're not watching like The Walking Dead on there or anything like that. Market cap of the firm fell to 482.9 billion on Thursday, compared to around 498 billion on Wednesday, according to a data. That's still a lot of money. It's stockanalyst.com. Controversy on Netflix started with allegations that some of its shows push woke content, especially on children. After the cancel Netflix hashtag went viral, Musk continued the controversy by asking consumers to cancel their subscriptions, arguing the corporation was sending negative signals to children, promoting what he described as transgender propaganda. Cancel Netflix for the healthier kids. Musk wrote an X, which he owns. Netflix has also consistently ranked among the first in promoting highly controversial LGBTQ plus related storylines and characters, with those representations said to be constantly increasing. A 2002 study by advocacy group GLAAD found since he began his cancellation campaign, many users have posted videos on social media showing that they have canceled their memberships.
Yeah.
Musk comments added the financial pressure on Netflix shares fell for the third day in a row, taking billions of the company's market value. So now I'm curious as to what they're going to do about this.
If anything, if they're intent on sticking with their intended goals, they will continue to accept the loss because they have Disney level monies. They have the I don't care, we can ride this out kind of mentality.
Can I just watch Havoc again in peace, please? Oh yeah, that was the Netflix movie. Actually, I was watching a Amazon exclusive movie. I forgot the. It's real bad. I forgot the name, but I think it was like. But it was in the Parker series. You know the Parker movies. Does that ring a bell? Jason Statham was in one of them. This one had Mark Wahlberg in it, and they just had it on Amazon. It wasn't bad. Okay. Actually, takes place at Christmas time. If you want a Christmas movie, that's not really about Christmas, but it's got thieves going after gangsters and things. Okay, so there you go. So Havoc is that aptly named. Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't. I'm sorry. I at first I thought, oh, this is like maybe a thing here or there, but it really seemed to be all over the place from the clips I was watching. But yeah. Okay. Moving on to. J.K. Rowling dismisses Watson as ignorant over trans rights row.
If you were over on Deleted Scenes earlier, he was talking about this. Rightly so. This is for crying out loud.
What I thought was interesting about this is that I think J.K. Rowling has purposely over the years not opened her mouth because even though let me read the article. It'll go into detail. If you probably So J.K. Rowling has sent out a stinging response to Emma Watson after the Harry Potter actress recently spoke about the relationship in a public disagreement over the issues of gender identity. Last week, Watson said she still loves Rowling, refuses to cancel her out despite their differences on the subject. So on the surface, that sounds okay, actually.
Well, yeah,
but not really. We'll get into
not really.
it.
Especially if you've been paying attention to what she's been saying.
It's not how she's acted in the past. That's the problem.
Right.
But on Monday, the author responded by saying her own feelings toward her former friend have soured after she says Watson publicly poured petrol on the flames of the debate at the peak of threats against her. Rowling wrote an X external, like other people who never experienced adult life uncushioned by wealth and fame. Emma has so little experience in real life, she's ignorant of how ignorant she is. She and Daniel Radcliffe were among the stars who distanced themselves from Rowling when the author sparked a row about speaking out against trans activism, which Rowling said had eroded the concept of biological sex. The writer was accused of being transphobic, which she denied, saying she was worried about the effect on women in single-sex spaces. In an interview last week, Watson said, "It's my deepest wish that I hope people who don't agree with my opinion will love me, and I hope I can keep loving people who I don't necessarily share the same opinion with," which I think would have been the fine response years ago, right?
Yeah.
When all this petrol was being thrown on the fire.
That ship has kind of sailed after some of the things she said. It's what she's saying now is not compatible with what she said then. That's the problem.
So, in her new post on Monday, Rowling wrote, "I'm not owed eternal agreement from any actor who once played a character I created. The idea is as ludicrous as me checking with the boss I had when I was 21 for what opinions I should hold these days." She said it had been, however, hard to shake a certain protectiveness after knowing someone since they were 10. Until quite recently, I hadn't managed to throw off the memory of children children who needed to be gently coaxed through their dialogue in a big, scary film studio. The author said the turning point in her feelings came in 2022 when Watson appeared to aim a subtle dig at Rowling on stage at the BAFTA Awards. Host Rebel Wilson introduced Watson by saying she's proud to call herself a feminist, but we all know she's a witch. Watson responded that she was here for all the witches, which was widely interpreted as a statement of support for the trans community. Many interpret her as mouthing bar one, and she said bar one, although it's not clear she may have actually said by the way. No, she said bar one. That's what she said.
She said bar one.
Okay. Rowling said the moment had a postscript that hurt far more than the speech itself when Watson sent a note. Despite
Wait, hold on a second. I did want to say this. That's stupidity. Well, she may have sent, by the way. Yeah. Let's go, Brandon.
Not what she
they
said.
were saying too. Yeah.
That's not what she said.
Let's go, Brandon. No, they were saying F Joe Biden. You know, they do this all the time. They flat out lie.
They're running cover for Emma Watson, and I want to make a point too. And I think Rowling's even trying to make this point too. She's 35 now. You're not a little kid.
Right.
You're approaching middle age. Actually, let's be honest.
I just dropped the link because it's a rather long post that J.K. dropped.
Yes.
But she has a way with words. She really does.
She's a great writer.
Obviously, she's a great writer. She bit her tongue for a very long time, said nothing until she felt it's time I need to say something. And when she did, boom! This is just, hit the button and kaboom. It's really freaking amazing.
Well, let's be honest here. She was afraid of violent reactions to her standing for her beliefs. And this is someone who can just go with the crowd. If you go with the mob, then you don't have to worry about the mob coming after you. And then you kind of threw your friend or your mentor under the bus here. And then you sent some note saying, "Oh, I hope you're okay." And you could have called her up and talked to her about it. You did.
And her thing about what was it you said? I'm not owed eternal agreement. The idea is
you can disagree with me on this statement. You're allowed to do that, and I won't hold it against you. But the idea is when people start threatening you, yes.
The idea is as ludicrous as me checking with my boss I had when I was 21 for what opinions I should hold these days. Good point. But further, you're also not coming out and bad-mouthing your boss from when you were 21, saying that person's a dick for having these opinions.
Especially when this person is getting threats on her and her family's life. Yes.
Exactly right. And Davinia Robbins, welcome. If you live to 70, 35 is noon. Yeah. She's at midlife, essentially, if we're talking average lifespan of 70. So grow the hell up, girl. But again, this is why I dropped the link so that you guys can read this in its context.
Read the whole thing, yeah.
Because
well, yeah, but I mean, she makes some really, really great points here. Where is it? Like other people who've never experienced adult life, uncushioned by wealth and fame, Emma has so little experience of real life, she's ignorant of how ignorant she is. She'll never need a homeless shelter. And remember, if you know JK's background, she does. She's never going to be in a place of mixed sex public hospital ward. I'd be astounded if she's been in a high street changing room since childhood. Her public bathroom is single occupancy and comes with a security man standing guard outside the door. Has she had to strip off in a newly mixed-sex changing room at a council-run swimming pool? Is she ever likely to need a state-run assault crisis center that refuses to guarantee an all-female service?
Yes.
To find herself sharing a prison cell with a male assaulting person who's identified into the women's prison. In other words, she's saying you can hold these views, but have you ever thought about these things like a real human being? You are so removed from the trials and tribulations of real people, you don't have a realistic opinion in your head, girl.
Yeah, and deleted scenes was also make a point. What has she been in afterward? I did make a point that she was in the Disney Beauty and the Beast remake.
Well, which
Was terrible.
got
I
very
hate
mixed
that movie.
reviews.
I hate that. I
absolutely
hate
terrible.
that. Was when I turned
They
on the whole idea of
auto-tuned the
them remaking.
crap out of her. So don't even. But yeah, and what has she done since then? This is the other problem. She's only known for being friggin' Hermione, and she's going to be forgotten for that as well, as they are now moving on and recasting Hermione with a person of color.
Yes. So there we go. Yes. Anyway, moving on to two seemingly incompatible things. Yes. So anyway,
Yeah. I
I think we spoke enough on this, but like I said, you can check out the link and Amala. Let me see, make sure I get her name right. Ekpanobi, right?
Right.
Yeah. She had a great video on also the Netflix thing we were just talking about recently. She's a
Is
great
that
YouTuber.
the one that I had put into the notes? Let me see if I.
Yes, that's her. That's her. I know her. Yeah, she not personally, but
No, of course, yeah.
but she makes some good content. But Kimmel corporate
Yeah, here it
fallout
is.
continues. Yes, so Kimmel corporate fallout continues.
Yeah. This is in the notes below. This may be an incomplete
What?
link, but I just dropped it in the wrong place.
Oh, okay.
But all the articles we're referring to are down below, including the link to Amela's.
That's right.
video.
I had been watching it the same time you were, and you sent me the link, and I was about to send this to you. Okay, so I remember that,
That's funny.
It was just a weird coincidence, but she. Yeah. So I think she was another person that was at one point on the left and said these people have gone
Yes.
crazy and went over.
Yeah, she
again.
started her channel with her,
Yeah.
leaving the left,
Yeah.
statement, and I'm seeing more. It's funny. I was it Nate that I was talking to behind the scenes? Somebody. I was saying there's a lot of channels that I am paying attention to now that are very critical of the Democrats, very critical of the left, very pro, Trump and the current administration, and they're all black. It's like, wow. I mean, I didn't even realize this until I suddenly realized it, and I was like, people are waking up. People are coming around.
Well, it's also that, and the fact the other side has gotten more extreme. That's another thing that's turning people up. It's starting to scare them. What is it? Anna Kasparian left the left. She said. I mean, it's okay. Anyway, talking about
deleted. You know how the links work here now on YouTube. The links do not work. You're going to have to copy the link and paste it. I'm sorry, but YouTube has gone, whatever.
YouTube, yes. Anyway, yeah, it's YouTube. Just cut and paste. We're all having to get used to it. Kimmel corporate fallout continues. Irate shareholders have nothing yet from Disney about suspensions. Legal threat looms with Tuesday expiration date for documents.
So this is something I was getting at the top of the show. Iger is in a situation where he can't win. There's nothing that he can do. If
no one
takes
likes him.
Kimmel down, everyone that's currently following Disney will leave him. But if he leaves him up, he's getting blasted by the entire entertainment industry. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Disney's risking a high-stakes courtroom showdown about what really went down over Jimmy Kimmel's much-criticized suspension unless the Bob Iger-run media giant coughs up some serious documents and information in the next 24 hours. Filming from Brooklyn this week, the sharp-tongued Kimmel has been back on ABC's airways since September 23rd after a week-long MAGA-induced benching. Again, they keep saying it's MAGA-induced.
Yeah, see, and that's Darth Plato's absolutely right there in the chat, because it's not about MAGA, it's not about free speech, it's about normal people getting pissed, not watching
about
the show.
their affiliates not wanting this guy on
Their
after
affiliates
yes.
just say, okay, we don't want anything to do with this. It's an outright lie to blame the current administration. The current administration is just sitting back and eating friggin' popcorn.
And then what was it? And then Disney or ABC, they were like, okay, can we just go on there and make an apology, and he wouldn't do it. That's what I heard rumors about going on behind the scenes. And then Disney suspended him, and then suddenly everybody started yelling at Disney, and then Disney capitulated. And then, of course, the affiliate stations got threatened, and in one case, violent shooting threats at their stations. So they capitulated, I believe, out of fear from
and that's exactly what they want. You are literally playing right into their hands, idiots.
Okay, so the renowned attention, the outspoken, well-spoken latecomer, and his upcoming East Coast guests include Ryan Reynolds, Stephen Colbert, Spike Lee, Emily Blunt, Bruce Springsteen. Real Jimmy Kimmel live action or lack thereof is in Burbank today as of Monday evening. The books and records over possible improper political or affiliate considerations that Roberta Kaplan and other lawyers for Disney shareholders, the American Federations of Teachers, the AFL-CIO, and Reporters Without Borders asked for on September 24th in a terse letter to the CEO have not shown up. The shareholders are calling out the company's C-suites are responsible for significant declines, aka $4 billion fall in the company's stock in the blast radius of Kimmel going dark after the FCC chair started tossing his weight around about remarks the long-serving late-night host made about Trump and MAGA's reaction to the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk. Now money specifically $4 billion and may talk, but despite laying out what the company contact has properly confirmed that Disney will permit AFT and RWB to inspect and copy what is being demanded and to confirm the logical details of that inspection. It seems to have been radio silence from Burbank so far. What are these organizations?
I have no idea. I don't know.
American Federation of Teachers, are they legally obligated to turn anything over to them?
I don't know.
It's not the government, right? It's another private organization. Maybe I'm reading this wrong. Maybe I'm not fully understanding what's going on here.
Anyone can bring a lawsuit. So if you bring a lawsuit, you can.
So it's like the ACLU, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So they're bringing a lawsuit against Disney over this, and they want to see those documents, right? To determine if they're going to seek legal action on behalf of who? Jimmy Kimmel?
I don't know.
Like they'll represent him for free because
this whole idea. But you're absolutely right. This whole idea that you are, because of free speech, you're entitled to a platform like that. Well, that's fine. That's fine. I want my YouTube channel then put on ABC. I have a First Amendment right now.
I just don't get it. And I did make a point, though, especially hearing how the left are still canceling their Disney Plus subscription over this, even though Disney recanted. I'm thinking, we've heard about people getting canceled, right? And their lives getting ruined over cancellation. Have we heard about a corporation getting canceled? And could Disney be the first?
That's just standard business. Think about it. It happened to Gillette. It happened to Cracker Barrel, right? That's what happens when you piss off so many of your customers. They say, we are not coming back.
Well, the problem with Gillette, when there was the outcry, I think the CEO doubled down instead of retracting it.
And effectively, that's what Disney is doing, too.
So, yeah. How long do you think Iger has?
I have no idea.
You don't know why he's there to begin with. That's the problem.
Because he just can't quit. It's like someone with a bad habit. Oh, I can quit anytime. No, you can't. You absolutely cannot.
Okay, so let's go to the next one. This is Disney urged to shut down ABC to avoid political turmoil. Two analysts from Needham Securities think Disney should move all of its TV content on the Disney Hulu and ABC apps and shut down its broadcast operations, citing increased pressure from the FCC, the kind of pressure that resulted in the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel's show 2 weeks ago. Needham security analysts Laura Martin and Dan Medina, in a note released last week, recommended that Disney keep its broadcast licenses but shut down broadcast operations. Putting the licenses up for sale just puts Disney at risk of more FCC interference into its affairs, the analyst said in an article in Forbes. We calculate that shutting down, not selling ABC would force Disney to write off about $1.7 billion to $2.7 billion in free spectrum value, plus about $1.4 billion of lost free cash flow per year, which is about $8.3 billion of value based on the current TV trading comps, Martin wrote. The analysts think it would be worth more for ABC to stop broadcasting in order to avoid threats associated with the current political climate amidst a changing media environment spurred on by artificial intelligence. Gen AI collapses timeframes, thereby making the delays, distractions, and headaches of regulations more expensive, so jettisoning regulatory risk is increasingly valuable, they wrote. Although it's highly unlikely that Disney would follow their advice, particularly given its lucrative live sports contracts, the fact remains that revenues from local stations, an estimated $4 billion in revenues in 2024, continue to decline. Martin and Medina wrote. So
here's that's very interesting. That is exactly why the affiliates came back, because that was the threat. If you don't come back, if you don't air, our shows, you won't be getting the sports.
Is broadcast TV still popular among? I guess
No.
it still makes money.
It is getting less and less popular all the time. It is a dying industry. It really is.
I don't get it. I don't get it. They could have just made Jimmy Kimmel a Disney Plus show exclusive, like all the other exclusive shows they have on there that nobody watches. And
They should have just moved him to Hulu, and they didn't. So.
Well, Hulu apparently is turning into Disney Plus.
And here's the other thing too, and this is how I can prove to you. I can prove if anyone is telling you this is about free speech, this is how you prove that it is not. If it was about free speech because of pressure from the FCC, all they had to do was move it to Hulu. They would not be under the jurisdiction of the FCC.
FCC wouldn't care.
They wanted to. Exactly.
Yeah, they would say, okay, but
That's
this is
all they would have to do.
They
and
don't
they
understand.
didn't do it.
Okay, they don't understand, and I've tried to explain this before. The airwaves are public property. Okay, you have to be careful what you say on public property.
I'm sorry,
Kimmel told a bold-faced lie about the shooter, which was already at that point pretty clear.
Yep.
And he did it to do a dig at MAGA, and he told a bold-faced lie. You can't do that on the news either.
Yep.
And to be fair, I think it was more like the guy in charge of say, you better watch it. That's more what he said. And of course, then they took it as, oh, he's trying to cancel Kimmel. No, he's saying you don't do that.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. If I'm correct in my interpretation of events, but anyway.
And I believe that you are. Yes.
Okay, moving on to. Oh no. You like that picture?
I can't stand this guy. I am done with him. I am done.
Okay, so James Collins fans, am I allowed to say this word on YouTube? I never know anymore. The thing that we call istophobes, whatever. Okay, you know what we mean. And admits he has no oversight from Warner Brothers on DC Universe projects, which means he gets to do whatever he wants, basically, right?
Right.
Because there's no oversight at Warner Brothers. That's the problem. Nope. That there's no. Okay, James Gunn called fans bigots, I should say. I guess
hateful people is what he called them, yes.
In a recent interview, while admitting that he has no oversight from Warner Brothers on DCU projects. When in doubt, blame the fans. That's been a Hollywood favorite play for years now. This, I think, is from WW. Every time a franchise stumbles or viewers push back, executives and creators deflect by smearing the audience with labels like labels like toxic.
Yep.
The toxic fans. Now James Gunn, the man at the helm of DC's future, has joined the chorus. Recent GQ interview, Gunn addressed the reaction to Peacemaker Season 2's alternate Earth twist. The alternate reality John Cena as Peacemaker has been escaping all season is actually Earth X, which is dominated by, for lack of a better word, Yahtzees, and even includes fascist symbolism.
The National Socialists that came to prominence during World War II in Germany.
Okay. Instead of acknowledging that some fans simply didn't like the direction James Gunn went on the offensive, labeling them, because they didn't like the creative decision because it sounds stupid.
It is.
I have a few. I have a few ists that call me polarizing, but I'm okay with being polarizing and letting These people fall by the wayside. He said people have loved this episode the most, so it's exciting. I don't. Does anybody like Peacemaker? I'm not a big fan of John Cena, period. And
At this point, anybody that is still watching Peacemaker, I lose respect for you. Really, I do. You are part of the problem. Even if you're going to the high seas to watch it, if you're talking about it and telling people, oh, I really like this show, you are part of the problem. You really are.
Gunn's tactic hardly new. We've seen it repeatedly. Star Wars branded unhappy fans as sexist and anotherist. After pushback on new characters, Marvel Studios dismissed fan criticism of unpopular storylines as toxic. You've had bad storylines. Stars from Rings of Power and The Acolyte use accusations of bigotry to reframe underwhelming perception. Because it's an adaptation of the appendices, but what do I know? The cycle is predictable. When a project underperforms or sparks debate, blame shifts away from the creative choices and onto the audience. Gunn's comments fit nearly into that pattern. I can do whatever I want. Equally striking in the GQ piece. This is more telling, though, is Gunn's admission of just how much authority he holds in the DCU. Speaking about Peacemaker, he said, I really do whatever I want with Peacemaker, and I mean, in one respect, I do whatever I want with anything because I'm able to make my own choices, and I'm my own boss. Many believe that Warner Brothers CEO David Zaslav maintains some kind of control over Gunn. I don't know why we believe that. I don't think Zaslav's been in control of anything at this point. I just... that's my opinion. It's not necessarily
Darth Plato dropped $2 to say the title of Agent Boomer's upcoming book. Groan. Yes.
I've been groaning all decade. I'm not joking. I remember years back when they would announce a super movie, and I would get so excited. Like, I remember the one summer with The Dark Knight and Iron Man and Incredible Hulk. They were all coming out, and I was like, oh, wow, this is cool. And I'm not even the biggest comic book guy, but I thought, wow, it's going to be cool to see these great movies. And now it's just, it's all just slop. And I can't do it. I can't do it. Okay. Apparently, after all, Kathleen Kennedy, Kevin Feige, Lucasfilm, Marvel still ultimately answered to CEO Bob Iger. Gunn even admitted that although there was pushback from various sources, he simply pressed ahead. That means Gunn not only disregards critics and the fan base, but he also brushes off executives who question his direction. For Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders and DC fans hoping for an ununified vision, this should raise alarms. Gunn isn't presenting himself as a steward of beloved characters. He's presenting himself as a free agent accountable to no one. And we're going to get another Joker Filet Deuce situation at some point.
I'm sure.
With this DC universe. There's going to be a huge flop. And I don't know when that will happen. It may not happen till Clayface. Maybe Clayface will do well. Maybe Supergirl will do well. But there'll be some film that it will go off the rails.
I don't know. I think a lot of people are looking at all of this and going, yeah, I'm out. And so now I'm starting to think Supergirl will not do all that.
It may not. Maybe people are done after seeing that first Superman movie.
Well, and see, I feel like that first Superman movie was very much like The Force Awakens, right? We're on the fence here. Let's see where this goes. And we're seeing where it's going. We see Peacemaker. We see him attacking the fans like they've been doing for the past decade. And people are pretty much done with that tactic and going, nope, I'm done.
Yeah, I think it's Clayface and Superman Woman of Tomorrow. Why are they even doing a Clayface movie? That's the villain. You do a Batman movie with Clayface as the adversary. That's how you do a Clayface movie.
It's because he doesn't want to do a hero story. It's because he wants to do a monster movie.
They already showed their version of Clayface on that cartoon show he did, which I didn't care for, but okay.
The
Creature Commandos.
Creature Commandos.
Yeah, I did not care for
That's
that.
what I'm saying. Even the fact that Creature Commandos is such an obscure DC property, the only reason you pull that out is because you want to tell monster stories.
He likes to do the weird stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I don't get it. I don't get Warner Brothers. I know what's going on with Warner Brothers. They're hoping to have a few hits and then they can sell it out. Look, we've got Harry Potter TV show. Look, we've got DC Universe, and we have something else, and they'll try to pawn it off to somebody like Apple or some other company, and then they can then the executives can run away with the money. That's all I can see happening here.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong there. I think you're absolutely
I don't get it. I don't get it. And they keep canceling these HBO Max shows. Like David Zaslav's acting like, oh, HBO Max, it's the best thing ever. And I'm thinking, well, you already canceled the Perry Mason show.
Right.
And you could argue if that show was good or not, but you have all these big exclusive shows, and you do a first season, then you wait like 2 or 3 years before you get to the second season. By then, it's lost all impact. I feel like
Right.
the same thing's happening with the Penguin series. Everybody was all loving the Penguin series last fall, and there's no word of when, if, or ever there's ever going to be a sequel series to that.
Right.
I don't know. Okay, I'm moving on here.
They're manage their business real well, right? Real well.
James Gunn has every right to defend his creative work, but dismissing critics as, well, that's a very loaded term. It's such a loaded term, I don't even know if I could say it on here. I'll use the word bigots instead, which may also be a loaded term on YouTube. I don't know. And it's
Right.
That's not why. Sometimes we don't like your creative decision because it's a creative decision, and it goes back to the old thing with, if you don't like what I wrote, you're an istophobe, that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Which is such a lazy argument. It really is.
By the way, not to go off on a side note here, but you know how I'm buying those Tomb Raider Colossal collections, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm looking at the Volume 3 that's coming out of the Colossal collection. I'm like, Lara Croft doesn't look right on that cover. And I'm realizing, oh no, now they're doing a collection of the Volume 3 is going to be the modern Lara Croft stories from 2016 that were written by Gail Simone.
Oh God.
I'm not buying Volume 3.
No.
No. It ends with Volume 2.
Can't stand Gail
The Penguin
Simone.
was never meant that more than it was a limited series. I guess that makes sense, but they weren't saying it was a limited series, though. That's the thing. They were. Maybe that's because they were worried people wouldn't stick with... I don't know why. Highlander Jeremy Irons to play villain opposite Henry Cavill in Amazon remake. What's going on here? Let's see.
I had to dig into this one, and when I saw what this was actually all about, I was kind of pleased, I gotta say.
He's from Planet Zeist.
Yeah, no, exactly. He's from Planet Zeist. Because I'm sitting here going, wait, they just cast, wasn't it Batista? To play the Kurgan? I'm like, what villain is he going to play? And then as I read the article, I was like, oh, no way. This is way bigger than I realized. Yes, read it.
Let's get into this. Jeremy Irons, a triple crown of acting achiever thanks to Oscar, Emmy, and Tony Award wins, is the latest bold-faced name to join the cast of Highlander, Amazon MGM's remake of the 1980s cult classic. The luminous call has Henry Cavill leading a cast that's already included Russell Crowe, Marissa Abela, Dave Bautista, Karen Gillian, and Jijimon Hunso. The action fantasy, which hails from Amazon MGM's United Artists banner, is being directed by Chad Stahelski and is slated for a theatrical release. Production was to have started in late September, early October, but was pushed after Cavill sustained an injury during pre-production. Production will now begin in early 2026. Cavill is playing Connor MacLeod, a medieval Scottish Highlander who discovers he is an immortal warrior. With the help of a swordsman named Ramirez, to be played by Russell Crowe, the titular Highlander battles other immortals across the centuries until, as the line in the original 1986 movie exclaimed, there can be one.
There can be only one.
I was about to say there's always room for Jello, but anyway, okay. But Bautista is playing the Kurgan, the movie's top villain, while Gillian is MacLeod's Scottish and very mortal. Gillian is Scottish and very mortal wife. Hansu is an immortal warrior from Africa, while Abela is MacLeod's modern romantic interest. Max Zhang and Drew McIntyre are also in the cast. In a part that could be juicy, Irons will play the movie's other antagonist, the leader of a secret order called the Watchers,
The Watchers, which was not introduced until the series, which means they are drawing from the series as well.
So who are the Watchers on the series? Were they a group that were keeping track of the Immortals?
So think of it as a secret society that is aware that these Immortals exist. And each Immortal would be, they would identify these Immortals, and then a member of their Watcher society would be assigned that immortal, and it's your job to spy on them, get all this information, chronicle all the information, keep an eye on them. They were the Watchers.
Well, to what end?
Well, think about it. If you have superheroes in the world that are immortal, that could possibly influence world events.
So this is like the Amanda Waller.
That's a bit of a stretch, but yeah,
Okay.
kind of like that.
All right.
Yeah, kind of like that.
So why is he an antagonist?
I would have said
though?
more like the Watchers in Buffy.
Okay.
You know, that keep track of the supernatural stuff going on to kind of protect the world and normal human beings and stuff. Or in a way, he could very well be like the Lex Luthor of this thing, who, distrusts the superpowered individuals, and you could probably understand why.
The Watchers, that'll work. Okay. What was this? This Latin custodio equate. I can never say that right, but it was a Who Watches the Watchmen, right?
Yeah, Who Watches the Watchers, exactly.
Is that from ancient Rome?
I actually don't remember what the original attribution was.
Sounds like the Enforcer in the Vampire the Masquerade world, Darth Plato says.
Yep, yeah, that's another good analogy, yeah.
I have to tell you, this is shaping up to be, this might be a really good remake. We'll see,
yeah,
right?
As long as all the people involved in it keep their mouths shut and don't go signing any stupid declarations or whatever.
We'll see. But I like the cast, so we'll see.
I do too.
Karen Gillian, greater than a lot of the British actors we've been talking about tonight. So there we go.
Well, that's true.
CBS announces Everybody Loves Raymond 30th anniversary special. I should probably bring the slide over first.
This one came out of left field, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Are you serious?"
Are you a fan of this show?
I watched it. I wouldn't say I was a fan of it.
Okay.
I liked Peter Boyle, who's not obviously going to be in any reunion shows.
But I think Peter Boyle, though, he was actually on an excellent X-Files episode too. He was
Oh yeah.
He could see the future. If he touched you,
Oh, wow.
he could see how you would die.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah,
And it's funny because this one FBI agent that's guarding him, because there's a killer on the loose, he says, "Me, how do I die?" He's smoking a cigarette. Lung cancer? And Peter Boyle shakes his head, "No." "Oh, thank goodness." And he smokes a cigarette. And then the killer comes up right behind him and kills him right in front of Peter Boyle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yep, I saw that coming.
yeah.
Well, that would be the concern, right? When you have a vice that is going to be ultimately, very likely to cause your demise, but the person who can see the future says that's not how you're going to die. That means you're going to die sooner than later, sooner than the cancer can get you.
Yeah, basically, yeah. CBS plans to celebrate 30th anniversary of Everybody Loves Raymond with a 90-minute special. The show aired on CBS for 9 seasons. After its premiere on September 13, 1996, and ended in May 2005. Despite the series' modest start in its first season, it became a great success, earning 69 Emmy nominations and winning 15. Ray Romano, the series' lead actor, reflects on the show with People. "You know what? We did something pretty good," he said. Phil Rosenthal, the series creator, Romano, will be hosting the special. Fans can expect interviews and candid conversations with castmates Brad Garrett, Patricia Heaton, Monica Horan, Madeline Swinton, and Sullivan Sweeten. A tribute will be paid to Doris Roberts and Peter Boyle, who played Ray's parents, Marie and Frank Barron. Boyle died in 2006 at the age of 71, and Roberts died in 2016 at 90. The show's cast has refused a reboot. There is no show without the parents, Garrett told People. The special will be aired on November 20th. So it's a retrospective on the show.
That's not so bad. Yeah.
You thought it was a special, yeah.
I thought it was going to be like where are they now type,
Let's not do that. Do you remember they did that with the Brady Bunch? They would do those made-for-TV specials like a Brady Christmas.
And you find out that Bobby is a race car driver and Greg became, I think, a doctor or something like that.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah.
And our final story of the night coming up on 11 o'clock. Good thing I did a Good Old Days. I thought we wouldn't have time for Good Old Days tonight. And I said, "Nah, you got to do a Good Old Days anyway."
Yeah.
because I thought they would actually go well with this. And it is a new model kit. Actually, a
It's
few new
not a
model
model
kits.
kit. It's actually
What?
you just buy the ship. It's Eagle
Oh.
Moss. Eagle Moss is it's a model, but it's not one you build yourself. It's you buy it whole cloth, and they're a bit on the pricey side. Yeah, this is a high-end type of collector's dealio.
So, Fan Home bringing back 20 Eagle Moss XL Star Trek models for ship's launch at New York City Comic Con. Last year, Fan Home launched a new line of die-cast Star Trek models, Starship models, focusing on the new Paramount Plus series. Now they're branching out with a new line of ship models previously made by Eagle Moss. The first two will be available at New York Comic Con, which kicks off in exactly 1 week on October 9th. Oh, New York City Comic Con coming up. We might have some news to talk about next week. You excited?
I'm there's some things that I'm keeping an eye on that I want to see how they pan out. Yeah.
Fan Home is also bringing special Prodigy guests to New York City Comic Con and Voyager.
Oh, nobody cares about that.
Um,
Nobody cares about Prodigy.
What was funny though, I did see Kimmel being interviewed, and she was getting rather testy about the fact that Paramount just canceled it, and she said why was it canceled? They didn't give a reason. Like she was actually getting a little testy about the fact they canceled that cartoon, which I don't know.
Then she's not paying attention and she's clueless.
I guess, yeah.
I mean, really, no. It's not that difficult, people. If not enough people are watching your show, it's going to get canceled. Pay attention to the ratings.
Here's what I don't get. This was a Star Trek show geared toward children. I never watched it myself, so I can't comment on its quality. I had heard that the animated show they did, the Lower Decks, was actually better than a lot of the live action stuff they did. But I didn't watch that either. But
yeah, and there's a reason. Most people that were fans stopped watching all this stuff because they were sick of all the stuff. Look, we could go back to James Gunn. He could make the next Supergirl movie the best thing ever, but a lot of fans are not going to see it because we're done with him. You know, there's a lot of people in Hollywood that are going to make movies that I will not see. I don't care how good they are.
Yeah.
You know.
So you don't want to get the Prodigy ship.
So here's what's interesting.
They're gonna have a Star Trek Picard ship.
I would be surprised if they don't put out a Titan and if they don't put out an Enterprise F. Yeah. Those they really should, but I see those less as Picard ships and more as Star Trek Online ships. But that's another. Well, that's where they came from. They literally lifted them directly from Star Trek Online. But I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing. I think there should be more of that, you know, use of the EU, to use the terminology, to kind of bring these kinds of things together. But TOS, the original series, Clue, the thing is that I find interesting about this, again, this is high-end collectible ships, not my thing, but Eagle Moss was a company that was putting these ships out, and like a lot of them, and they went out of business. And Fan Home bought the rights to continue doing these things, and people that were collecting Eagle Moss were like, well, we hope that means they are going to give us an opportunity to, you know, get these older ships or ships that were planned that didn't make it out or whatever. And the answer to that question was a little bit out in limbo. Now it looks like we're getting our answer. Again, not something I'm real into, but for the fans that are into these collectibles, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And they said one of this was $350. I don't know what size these are. Are these decent size?
These would be these are a bit smaller than the like Ertel ships.
Right.
But they are very highly detailed, pretty darn accurate.
I don't know if that's a terrible price for that. That's probably about what I don't think they're overcharging, but we'll say that. Okay.
And I mean, if this is your thing, if this is what you want to collect, okay, go for it. But I think most people are going, well, I want to get that original series Enterprise. Or
They
I
do.
wanna
Well, that
get
is one
that,
of them. That
you
is
know,
one of them.
Yeah. Or
The
I
rest
want to
is all the
get,
new stuff. Yeah.
yeah, whatever your ship is that you really, really like is what people are probably going to, and just maybe that one.
I want
But
Klingon Bird of
I
Prey.
don't know. You know, I've been a collector of crazier things, so I'm not going to yuck someone else's yum. You know.
I have Star Trek Hallmark ornaments.
I do too. I have a few. I didn't get into collecting them, but there was a couple I felt that I just needed.
I had the
to
Shuttlecraft. I didn't get the
I
original
got that
Enterprise. That one sold out like that. You couldn't find it anywhere
It
when that
did.
came out.
It went too fast.
I got the TNG Enterprise because I made sure to get that as soon as I saw
I
it.
got
And
that.
yeah. And I think was there a Klingon Bird of Prey later on, or a
I
Romulan Bird of
definitely.
Prey?
I've got a couple of the Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
You got to figure I would have done that
Because of the Klingon stuff, yes.
Yeah, because Klingon, right?
All right, but that's it for this evening. I think we end on a high note. That looks like a nice little collectible if you're into Star Trek.
Yeah,
And blood.
and it's also a statement that again, people are more interested in the original stuff and not so much the new stuff. It's just the way it is now.
Emma Watson having egg on her face this week. I'm going to say this. I'm telling you, you're 35. This isn't like
Grow the hell up already.
Well, I have a
girl.
problem with people like Rachel Zegler. Like after a certain age, no, you have to stop. You have to act like a professional and stop running your mouth on things. And it's like,
well, unfortunately, we're seeing too many people that are in their 50s and 60s these days out there saying stupid stuff on the internet,
yes,
going and protesting stupid stuff that are, it's like you are just too stupid to function. Your ignorance is far beyond your capability. It really is.
Well, that finishes it up for this week.
It does.
Why is Tomb Raider Volume 3 having Gail Simone stories in it? Just don't buy Volume 3. I hope they don't do a mix where they, like the last few issues of the thing I need for my set theory are mixed in with Gail Simone stories. That'll be like, what do I do?
Yeah.
It's like, please don't. Please just make it a clean break. Yeah, Rachel Zegler's been quiet as a church mouse lately. I guess losing a company 3 at a million makes you have at a loss for words.
Well, she's moved into
theater,
an area of entertainment that is niche, where nobody pays attention except the people in her echo chamber. So she's right where she wants to be, and we don't ever have to think about her ever again for the most part.
Oh, thank you, Horror Cat Dad. Fun stream, y'all. Always a pleasure chilling with you. Oh, thank you. Well, we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Brie Larson's been quiet as of late too, hasn't she?
She got her head out of her ass. Yeah.
Okay.
She learned. She learned. These people need to learn the hard way, and they inevitably do.
Okay. So that wraps it up for this week. And what's coming up? We have. I know that reserve seats is supposed to come back at some point, but not yet. And then,
right.
So tomorrow night, your Monday night of the movie. What's going to be?
So there was early on. I could tell there was no doubt. There was so many votes. It's going to be American Werewolf in London. So that's 1981. And like I said last night, with starring Jenny Agutter and some other people, I guess.
And some other people, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. The pepper guy. I'm a pepper, you're a pepper.
I feel like...
Yeah, David Naughton, right.
Hold on. You should get a nice box of Fruit Boot to eat while watching it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Brute.
Yeah, I remember that.
I wasn't even aware that was a thing. You never saw... I only ever saw Count Chocula. You never saw the
There
other
was...
one.
No. There
was Yummy Mummy.
Let me help you out. There was Count Chocula, Boo Berry, and
Frankenberry.
No, Frankenberry,
Booberry. That was another one.
And
You're right.
Blueberry. That's right. It was
No,
those three.
There were two others though.
And
There's
then there was
Fruit
the
Root.
werewolf.
Boomer,
one.
I know. I'm trying to explain it to you, okay?
Okay.
Those were the three that were on the shelves all the time.
Okay. I see what you're
All
saying.
the other ones became well, they started out on the market full time, and when the sales fell off, they stopped carrying them. But then people would ask for them, and so they started making them seasonal. At Halloween
see.
time. So if you go to the store now, you will find all of those again.
Have you ever had
Yeah.
Fruit Root?
I don't think so,
Okay.
to be honest with you.
Neither
But like
have
I said, you probably could get it now because Halloween.
Yes, Halloween, where all the fun stuff happens. And be sure to tune into An American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
If you are a member of Troy's channel, you can hear
Membership
his...
on my channel is as little as $1.99 a month.
And
and I do a movie every Monday night as long as Cosme is.
You can hear his delicious commentary.
Exactly. And I think we have a lot of fun. We really, really do.
Yes.
Over there.
And then what's next?
let me
Tuesday.
think.
Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday, live from Sparkwood 21. Deleted. We got to decide what we're doing for live from Sparkwood 21. I gotta make my plans. But immediately after that, of course, is the next episode of Blake 7, written by Tanith Lee, and I like Tanith Lee. Netter likes Tanith Lee. She's big on the lesbian vampires, but
I like Tanith Lee's books, and none of her books have lesbian vampires.
she wrote
Okay.
a lot of lesbian vampires.
Okay, well, the ones that I have don't have lesbian vampires.
Okay. Maybe you didn't read them closely enough. You got to read the subtext. But more importantly, if she writes for Blake 7, you might want to be drunk when you watch that episode, or whatever your vice is. This one is called Sand, because it's a story about vampire sand. No lesbians, just vampire sand. And I do mean sand, like the little tiny granular stones that you find on the beach. I don't even know what to say about that.
Okay. Well, I'm sure it's I guess you want to walk on it barefoot.
I would imagine not. Horror Cat Dad says, have you seen Lesbian Vampire Killers? I have not. I shall probably have to look into that.
Okay. So let's see.
Who watches vampire movies sober? Well, there you go.
So what's next?
Then Thursday, Netter has a very special guest for her show.
The Vagrancy Horror.
The Vagrancy Horror, welcoming Christoph back. Haven't talked to him in a while. I said, look, it's that time of year. If the horror community isn't busy, let's see if we can't boost their channels a little bit this month above all. So Vagrancy Horror on Thursday night. And then Friday, what are we going to be talking about on Last Call?
We're going to talk about latest in artificial intelligence.
Yes, which I still insist is a misnomer, but that's the
They're going to take over.
That's the term of art that they are using for this
New technology.
Algorithmical whatever it is. Yeah.
Anyway, and then we will be doing also during the week, don't forget to tune into Liquid Lunch with Troy Pacelli every afternoon
at noon Central. That's 1 Eastern. You guys can do the maths for all of your other time zones.
Are we talking about anything special tomorrow?
I haven't decided yet.
Emma Watson? No, okay.
No, I don't know. Maybe if I feel strongly enough, maybe I will. I already know what I'm going to be talking about on Friday. I got an article from Marc Malnekoff about a certain whiskey company that needs to incur my ire. We'll talk about that on Friday.
Okay, cool. And then coming up, we are going to have Saturday night, what's going to be going on?
Oh, Saturday night is on Netter's channel. But
Hold on.
I have forgotten. We just talked about it last night, and I have forgotten already. I've slept since then.
Yes, it is Hansel and Gretel,
Hansel and
Witch Hunters.
Gretel, Witch Hunters. with Jeremy
Oh
Renner.
man,
Yeah.
I love that movie. I can't.
Yeah, that's what we'll be watching on Saturday.
Okay.
And for those of you, I make this joke a lot, and I'm realizing that maybe some of the younger viewers among us might not get it when I say I have forgotten because I've slept since then. It's a reference to the fact that back when computers were a new thing in people's houses, they didn't have hard drives. They had just as much memory as they had, and you saved stuff to a floppy disk. And when you
Yes.
turned off the computer, everything went away. And you would have to reboot the program from a disk. You would have to reboot any files that you had from a separate disk. The computer itself lost all memory. And not just if you powered down the computer. If there was a brief flash of, lightning or something and you momentarily lost current, boom, everything was gone.
Yeah.
That's why you saved often.
Yeah.
You had to. Back,
Yep.
I remember it would happen to every college student. You'd be working on your essay, and then you forgot to save, and then you'd lose the whole thing and have to start again because it wouldn't automatically save for you. You always had to save.
Right.
What did I want to mention to you though? And I guess next Sunday we'll be talking about a Bond story that broke today. So I guess we'll have more on
Well,
that next
you
week.
and I will talk about it behind the scenes in a moment. You are not going to be happy.
Okay, so I would be screaming on air right now if I heard it now. Okay.
I don't know if it would rise to that level, but
Okay.
it would definitely elicit a boomer groan.
Okay. Well, that's all for this week, people. Good people, thank you for tuning in. We'll keep the home fires going for you.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Thanks
what
a
that
lot,
means. Okay.
guys. Take care. We'll
Bye-bye.
catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.